When we said the prayer about the lights, right?
Oh, I thought we just had to get ready. And this, I thought the light was.
Well, no. Well, the lights. It's lights, and then it's the candles. It's the step 3. Just cut that on. That's fine. You can cut that on.
Yeah. Okay. I thought the lights was a candle.
Shalom, everybody. We're doing all this talking and not focusing on the lights, camera, action on. Okay. Make sure we're good to go. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Ready?
Yeah.
Imagine. Everybody else stay down. We get started on the prayers, then we'll situate everybody when it's time. I'm sorry. Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Hahawa'ah.
Hahawa'ah.
Nathan Lanawa. Awar. Zayawam. The water. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us light this day. Thanks, so be it.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
B'Hashem Yahushai.
B'Hashem Yahushai.
Hahawa'ah.
Hahawa'ah.
Nathan Lanawa. Rayach.
Nayachacha.
The water.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us sweet savor. Thanks, so be it.
Amajim Wapanya Yerushalayim.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Barakatah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Hahawa'ah. Nathan Lanawa. Hashabbat. Bashalom. The water. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it.
Psalms 121. Anasha. Ayanyamya. Pahoyam. Ma'aya. Yabua'aya. Isaiah. Yabua'ah. Ma. Yahweh. Sha'aisha. Shemayim. Wa'aratiza. La'a. Yonathan. Lamawat. Regalia. Yala'ah. Nawam. Shashamarya. Hana. Yala'ah. Nawam. Wala'ah. Yashan. Shashawamar. Yashala. Yahweh. Shemaya. Yahweh. Tazalia. Ayo. Yanyamya. Yad. Shemash. Yala'ah. Hakaya. Bayawam. Wala'ah. Alabana. Walayala. Yahweh. Yashemaya. Makol. Rai. Yashemar. Pasha, Yahweh, Yashemar, Awalakia, Wabiwa'aya, Ma'aitha, Wa'ai, Aman.
Psalms 121 in English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. I'll just say it. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yashala shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forever. Amen.
Lord's Prayer. Abanaw, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwavka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Baratiza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayim, Nathan Lanawa, Lacham, Kol, Yawam, Wasalachana, Chawathina, Hasalachana, Chawathina, Wala'ah, Noah. Burn aside one. Above. I will shine out. Mayan. Right. Kaya. Laka. Amalakwa. Waha'ara. Wata Parad. La'ar Walamya. Amen.
Matthew chapter 6 verse 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
La'a, Yahaya, Laka, Alahayim, Lachayim, Ayo, Panya.
Thou shalt have no other powers before me.
Number 2. La'a, Ta'ina, Laka, Pasal, Wala'a, Ta'ibadam.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'a, Balachwacha, Sham, Yahweh, Bashawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Number 4. Zakar, Hayawam, Hashabah, Laquadashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5. Kabad, Abaka, Ya'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Number 6. La'a, Tharataza.
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
Number 7. La'a, Thana'a.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Number 8. La'a, Thagana.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'a, Tha'ina. Shakwar.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10. La'a, Thachama. Ko. Ashara. Lara'aika.
Thou shalt not cover anything which is thy neighbor's.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Hahawa'am. Nathulanawa.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the law.
Okay, everyone. Yeshabim.
Take seats.
Okay. Clean up a little bit before we get going.
First reader.
What's that, sir?
Who's going to be the first reader?
Who's first? Okay. I'm gonna scoot over that way.
What's that?
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah, that's why.
Marwala, Shashabata, Ban Yehuda, Ban Yasharal.
Ma'awah, Shabbatah, Ban Yashal, Imagine. Rock. Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Yahaba Shim Yashai, Buakaton.
All right. Let's get started. We're starting off in Exodus. We're gonna give get your Josephus ready. Also, we're gonna be bouncing a little bit back and forth with the Josephus. So just make sure we have an understanding. We're going to go into the story of Moses, and it pretty much what happened to Israel after Jacob and Joseph died. Okay, and kind of give the background. As we know, when you're sitting back here and reading this, take a step back, read it from Genesis all the way through. You realize the Most High had a plan from the time He chose Abraham to get us out of the land of the Chaldeans, to get us to see the land of Canaan, from the tip of the land of Canaan all the way to the bottom. Then during the famine, the Most High sits back here and separates us from the land of Canaan, gets us to Egypt with the plans of getting us back to the land of Canaan to take our land eventually. This is how the Most High planned it and worked it. But the funny thing is, in the midst of all of the Most High's plans, He had everything set up for a specific reason. Okay, and all the difficulties that the Israelites were about to face, and dealing with the Egyptians was all for a purpose. Keep that in mind and try to translate it in your life. Because a lot of times when you're in the midst of a battle, it's damn near impossible to see the bigger picture. All you have control over is your outlook and your faith towards the Heavenly Father. And you're going to see how the Most High works things like in His way, separating our control, but still the Most High's intentions is always been to take care of us and be there for us. So, with that being said, let's start off with Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. My wall, I need you to get that started. You went to Hebrew. I went to English. No, that's good.
You had put something on
Yeah,
there?
yeah, it's all good.
Okay, my bad.
It's the devil up. It's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1 reads, Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt, every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Python, and Ramesses.
Hold tight. Now we're going to go to Josephus. We're going to go to Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 9. Antiquities of the Jews, book 2. Huh? What?
Josephus.
No, he's got it. Is this one? Yeah. So, Antiquities of the Jews, book 2, chapter 9. I'm gonna salute you. Might as well salute him in real quick.
Eliashai, Shal Shabbatah, Ban Rabban, Ban Yashala.
Eliashai, Shal Shabbatah, Ban Rabban, Ban Yashala. I imagine. Bro. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatah.
We're starting at paragraph 1, sir. We're going to probably knock out the first 2 paragraphs.
Book 2,
It's book 2, chapter 9. Antiquities of the Jews.
66.
Okay.
Antiquities of the Jews, book 2, chapter 9.
So, what you're reading in the beginning of Exodus just shows you that the children of Israel are fruitful, they're increasing, they're multiplying, and this new king that kicks up that doesn't know Joseph has a problem with the threat. You're going to find out in a little more detail why the threat was so imminent, okay, and why the king had to make so many extreme moves, okay. Let's read this.
Paragraph 1. Now it happened that the Egyptians grew delicate and lazy.
Delicate means soft. They got soft. They got comfortable. Don't forget, Egypt was the hub and the power source for many generations. Because of Joseph's ingenuity, the whole world was in a famine. So they had all this surplus, all this money, all this power, and all the people were paying tribute to the hierarchy of the Egyptians. Okay? So because of that, they got comfortable, they got delicate, they got soft. What it means to get delicate, what does it mean?
Pushover.
Pushover, yeah, but let's get a little more to it. Because it's important to understand this. What's that?
Easy.
What's that?
I want to say something like easy to handle.
Not easy necessarily to handle and throwing hands on, but when I'm delicate.
They let certain things slide and they keep.
Well, yeah, but they're feminine, but the delicate nature that the Egyptians began to have is they lost their ability, their willingness to work, their willingness to sit back here and be tough-minded mentally. Because it shows you, it says they became delicate and they became lazy.
Oh.
So delicate and lazy, the laziness is what brings about the delicate softness in a person. When I can't keep my mental edge, when I can't keep that fighting spirit, that willingness to get up and push past my conveniences, that delicate nature is that type of mind that's given to whatever impulse that pops in a person's head. When I'm in a strong fighting spirit, I'm able to push past my feelings, push past my emotions, push past my desires a lot easier. But the Egyptians were comfortable. They had no need in any part of life. Life was just good. Okay? They were so focused on their riches and their money and their luxuries, they forgot about working hard, discipline, diligence, consistency. That's the point. And all of us need to make sure we're conscious of that, because even the Jews fell to that when we got into the land of Canaan. They said we grew effeminate and lazy also. We were so busy focused on our vineyards and our land, when we were building our homes, our houses, our crops and our homes, that we forgot about what it took to nation build in the first place.
Another word for delicate is highly sensitive.
Highly sensitive, highly effeminate, highly emotional, because there's a transition that we got to make sure, even as brothers, we're in the spirit of building.
Yeah.
So we're in a very strong mindset, a disciplined mindset, a focused mindset, but we're going to have to make sure we don't fall trapped to those same type of trappings that comes with success, comfort, ease, the pursuit of pleasure. We have to make sure that we stay strong and disciplined when the Most High gives us the opportunity to grow and get blessed out of our condition. What was you going to say?
Just to bring up a scripture on what you're saying in Ecclesiasticus, on the Apocrypha chapter 31, verse 1 through 3. Whoever got it. Ecclesiasticus chapter 31, verse 1 through 3.
Ecclesiasticus 31, verse 1. Watching for riches.
It says what?
Watching for riches.
Watching for riches, it just means I'm so worried about the money, me making money.
Billionaire Boys Club.
Yeah. That becomes my focus. When you start acquiring wealth like the Egyptians had acquired due to our situation,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? They just care about they just were consumed with their money. And when you consumed about money, you start to neglect other aspects of life. Read on.
Watching for riches consumeth the flesh.
It does what?
Consumeth the flesh.
It becomes the number one priority.
Yep.
Worried about your money. And you grow effeminate. Go ahead.
And the care thereof driveth away sleep.
It becomes the number one priority in people's life. Go ahead.
Watching care will not let a man slumber. As a sore disease breaketh sleep.
And last verse, number 3. Go ahead.
The rich have great labor in gathering riches together.
It says the rich have great labor in gathering riches together.
Can I say something on that?
Mm-hmm.
That means the rich's number one job is to stay comfortable. I got to keep gathering riches so I don't have to be inconvenienced anymore.
Yep.
So I got to, now what you're going to read is that the only way they're going to be able to ensure their wealth and position is to make other people's life much more difficult. Whereas before they could just use their wit and their skill and ingenuity that they learned from Joseph. Now they have to sit back. They're put in a position to where they're going to have to work hard again, get back on the grind, or I got to sit back and take advantage of people that are around here that are working hard.
Yeah.
That's the only way to maintain the wealth and maintaining the comfort that their life presented to themselves. But keep going. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect. Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 31:3 from the top. The rich have great labor in gathering riches together.
And yeah, once you accumulate a certain amount of wealth, you know, like what Ward just said, your focus becomes sustaining it. How do I sustain this wealth? Go ahead.
And when he rested, he is filled with his delicates.
It says, and when he rested, he's filled with his what?
Delicates.
There's delicates. He become effeminate.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
he's usually getting his toes cleaned and,
Yeah,
and rubbed on.
You get used to being manicured and pedicured.
He got some manicured
eyebrows.
This dude get like this, get their fingers worked on.
You know what I'm saying? He just showing
What
you.
was that that definition you just had for that?
Man. Bernie Mac was known for getting his fingers did, wasn't he? It was Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac got manicures every week. Every week he got them cuticles worked on.
Pimps do too. Pimps have their nails done too, man.
Oh my God! they all they do is hang around women all them day long. They get feminine as hell.
They just show you what riches and wealth do to you. It make you soft. That was the whole point. It makes you soft.
Exactly. So these people were delicate and lazy. Go back, Elisha.
As to painstaking.
In comparison to painstaking work. In comparison to painstaking diligence to maintain what you built. Read on. What people don't understand is the only way to maintain good works is to maintain your same work ethic of good works. Well, whether you're talking about great athletes, great whoever, great entertainers, great musicians, whatever person is tapped into their greatness, regardless of what money they have or what position they have, what makes them great is that their attention to detail and their dedication to their craft. That's the only way you can maintain whatever elevation that you've worked yourself to get to. But a lot of people, they get to the top and they get comfortable, they get lazy, they get lax, they lose their discipline. Okay?
Can I use a parallel also? Because it's like that when we get our lives out. A lot of Israel will work hard to get out of a slump because they hit a brick wall, they hit the bottom. You know, I hit the ground floor of my life, and so that makes Israel pissed, it makes Israel upset, makes Israel angry. Israel will fight to get back on top, and then when we get on top, we forget why we went down in the first place. We forget why we hit that ground element in our life. And the same amount of spiritual work ethic it took for me to get out of this hole in my life, I had to maintain the end more.
Because what we don't forget, we forget, we were so focused on the loss in our condition, like Dawiyah said, the Most High was always trying to teach us to love the work. Really, the only way to maintain your spiritual preeminence, being on top in whatever field you're in, you got to love what you do every day. The only way to last in this truth, you have to love the work. You have to love getting up and getting with the brothers. You might be tired. You might be exhausted. You might be going through things in your life. But the only way to sustain your strength, you have to love what you do every day for the Most High. And if you love what you do for the Most High every day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Esau tells you this all the time. It's better to love what you do than to chase money. Esau gets that.
Yeah.
That's why Esau's mountain climbers and these extreme sports guys. They're not rich, but they love the bike riders. These guys riding bikes forever. What kind of crap is that? Huh? Or skateboarding forever. They love it, man. That's what they say. You love it, man. You just love it, man.
It's the ultimate rush.
It's a little rush. You love it. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But Israel don't love doing the work of the Most High. That's the problem. Israel don't love living righteously.
Yeah.
Israel don't love the pursuit of righteousness. And unless you love the pursuit of righteousness, you're not going to be great in serving the Lord.
We love just not suffering. How about that?
Exactly.
Convenience.
We love not suffering.
I don't want to be rock bottom.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get to the middle, you're okay.
Why do I have to keep fighting? Why do I have to keep changing? Why do I have to keep studying? Why do I have to keep? I'll listen to you when my life is in shambles. I will listen to counsel.
Yes. I love the Lord.
But once my
what
life
verse
gets
is that? What verse is that?
But once I'm out of the situation, then my listening skills diminish because I don't like being told I'm wrong or being told I need to keep making further adjustments when my situation's pretty good from where I'm at.
I want to make sure I'm as clear as possible in this. And I'm going to go into the topic as the topic is what the topic is. But when you read in the scriptures, right, the priest, what did the priest do for a living?
Serve, minister to the temple.
Listen, their whole life was temple. Like.
Yeah.
everything about
Yeah.
the priest was the damn temple.
7 days a
The
week.
temple weren't. The priests weren't leaving the temple. Like.
No days off.
The priests weren't going on vacation. I want to go to Hebron this week. You ain't going nowhere, G. You gonna be in that damn temple.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be at the house. You gotta be where? At the damn temple.
Temple life.
Listen, this is what everybody wants to be the priest. They want to be the priest and the teacher. They don't realize the priest's life was at the damn temple.
Yeah.
That's what they did 24/7. You know where the kids were? At the house. And they was at the where? The temple. Until the kids were old enough to be where?
Temple.
At the damn temple. It was temple. I don't think people understand this is the polarity the Most High keeps drawing us into. We want to sit back and read and learn the Lord or teach the Lord or be that representative of the Lord, but don't want to accept the fact that if I want to represent teaching and leading my people, that means my life is the temple. Whether we got a 1,080 square foot temple
Right.
or a 3,000 square foot temple, it doesn't matter the size. You're going to be at that temple and doing works and responsibilities that surround you and draw you to that temple at all times. But we don't, and we wonder why our life always draws us back to this one place. Because that's what we said we wanted, right? If we say we want this, then we have to accept all the collateral damage that comes from saying that you want to serve the Lord. And you know what that means? That means my life is the temple. You know what's funny? Remember when I think it was Elijah, it was Samuel's mother prayed to the Most High. So listen, man, if you give me a son, he's yours.
Yeah.
Right? So what did the Most High do?
Gave her baby.
He blessed her baby. That's what she had to do. Listen, the blessing was, I'm giving this child to the Lord.
Yeah.
But what did that mean? I was dropping this little baby at the temple.
Yeah.
So guess what that baby had to do for a living, huh?
Temple
It
life.
was Bible. It was preach. Bible work.
Yeah.
That's what it means to give yourself to the Lord.
And she came a couple times and made a little linen coat for him.
Yeah.
She hit the linen coat, baby.
Yeah.
He was
made a little onesie.
24 hours at the temple.
And listen, it's 20. But that was the point. The point is, if I can accept that my life is about the committing of the temple, committing myself to the temple, then I accept everything that I gain or lose because of it. The reason that there's that distemper and that lack of acceptance in life is because we don't accept that being in the temple means being in the temple. Is that
why he says, like Ecclesiastes, 2:1, where he says to prepare yourself? You know, he says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. You have to be prepared mentally for all the pulls that are going to pull you from that mission. If you get focused on serving the Lord, you have to be prepared for all the things that are going to try to tempt you away from that calling, away from the temple, like you're saying, because that's where your focus is constantly.
The focus is the temple, and the acceptance of your life is predicated on the temple.
Yes.
And I have to make sure that my decisions don't pull me away from the temple. My pursuits, my desires, the things I might want in life might not align with the fact that it's temple.
Yes.
What's that?
Luke chapter 2, verse 44.
Gospel dancing.
45.
Luke 2:45.
Okay. This is an early mentality that Christ had developed at an early age. Read that.
Luke 2:45. And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. Read on.
Yep.
And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple.
So this is Christ at 12 years old.
Yeah, he was a child, man.
He was a kiddo when most kids are playing games.
They was about to put him on a milk cart, Doc.
Yeah.
That's some milk cart issues, Doc.
Have
Yeah.
Have you seen this child? You like this?
Yeah, how was shot?
You like this?
little baby folk.
That's what I'm saying, right? Man,
Go ahead.
Luke chapter 2 and 46 from the top. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors.
He was sitting where?
In the midst of the doctors.
Go ahead.
it's the doctors of the law. These aren't some MDs out here.
Medical school.
It's these guys who their life is reading the Bible too. That's what a doctor of the law is. I can sit back here and go through all this parchment. It was a little harder back then. This is how you had your precepts out.
Yeah.
You just spread it out like this. So if Philippians is over here, he can go all that Philippians, he can go all the way to Daniels. It ain't easy to get the precepts back then. You was a doctor and a master of the law. That means you gave your life to just reading scripts all day long, and finding out ways to bring it in real life circumstances. I'm sorry, I had to bring it out there. You mean when you're doctors, you're a doctor of the law, the scriptures,
Yeah. No medical board, man.
And this 12-year-old dude is on here going at these guys, Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's it. Go ahead. That's perfect. Go ahead.
Sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions.
Go ahead.
And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers.
Go ahead.
And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with us?
Why did you leave us and abandon us, thinking that you were part of the entourage, heading back, and you stayed here in the temple? Go ahead.
Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing.
Go ahead.
And he said unto them, How is it that ye sought me?
Read on.
Wist ye not that I must be about my father's business?
That's what he's saying. He said, would you much rather not me be about my father's business? Being in the temple just means you're dedicated to the business of the Most High.
Exactly.
That's what, and he understood this at a very early age. He understood this at 12 years old. And a lot of us as adults don't even understand it.
We don't want to accept it.
That was it.
Because we want to sit back and live our lives and still pursue priesthood.
Yep.
At least we have to accept as Israelite brothers, am I pursuing the Israelites' priesthood, or am I just being a church participant? That's a very important thing that each of us have to accept early off when we get into this experience. Because when you start sitting back here saying teaching, like, I don't know, you know what you're asking for here, man. Everybody want to touch this smoke. This smoke ain't just shine. It ain't just fun. It ain't just fun and games. This is a life of dedication, and that's what people have to understand. And we're not going to sit back and ever BS you or tell you it's going to be light or easy. But if this is what brothers want, then they have to be willing to sit back and make their life about the work and the preparation of the temple. If their life is not about the work and preparation of the temple, then brothers have to sit back and set up some plan Bs. And there's nothing wrong with plan Bs. But it's very important when you come in to make your choice off rip. Let's not be angry at the Most High that you start something and realize you don't have enough to finish. Because a lot of Israelites do that too. They'll sit back and start committing to the Most High 3-4 years in, realize they don't have enough to get through, then they want to get mad at their experience. It wasn't the experience's fault. You just didn't have enough to finish what you started. That's what the Most High even talks about in the Gospels, about
Tower.
what good is sitting back here trying to start a war and then pulling back and saying, no, my bad. Let's good, man. I'm going to throw this white flag up. What kind of craziness is that? You got to count the cost off the rip. Do I want to sit back here and live this and take on all the responsibilities that's going to come from making this decision?
Yeah, Luke 4:28. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost?
Building a tower means to, when you think of a tower, it takes a lot to get to the top of a tower. So whether I'm trying to get to the top of serving the Most High and committing myself to dedicating to Christ, or I want to sit back and be the top in corporate America, whatever the situation is, what am I willing to count the cost and make sure I am going to sacrifice whatever is necessary to finish what I start? Read on.
It says, whether he have sufficient to finish it.
Exactly. And whether you have sufficient to finish it has nothing to do with having all the information ahead of you. Because you're not even going to know everything that you got to lose when you start this journey. When I was flipping 15 years old in 94, I didn't know what the hell, how much I was going to have to give to get to the end. I just said I want to get to the end, and I want to be a teacher, and I know I can do this. And I told myself from years ago that the greatest calling a person could do would be to commit his life to developing his people. And everybody talks about FD, Fire Department New York, cops. Those guys lay their life down for the people. True. But I think the greatest calling is to be a major cog in the resurrection of bringing Israel back to the Most High. And if that's what you want, and if that's what you desire, prepare yourself to count the cost. What is it going to take? What do I have to lose? What do I have to commit to finish it to the end? And how do I have to live a life, a more mean life? Mean meaning average. I might have to shave off certain aspirations and carnal goals that I might want to attain to get to the higher goal. That's what counting the cost is. What am I willing to accept that I can't have in these pursuits? What comforts am I willing to give up to get to these pursuits? What part of my life am I willing to lose to gain something? Because whatever you pursue, you're going to gain one thing and lose the other. You can't gain everything. In whatever pursuit you're going to shoot for, you're going to lose something to get the other. That's just life. Anyway.
Yeah, on a mental note, when you build a tower, however high the tower goes, you have to make sure you solidify the foundation even deeper, depending on the height of the tower. So anytime you build up, you got to make sure the base is stable, the foundation is stable. Meaning, if you want to reach higher heights like what Christ was reaching, then that means you got to have the same foundation that Christ laid, which was all sacrifice, which was all dedication.
And you know what also?
Selflessness.
The more fortified that you make your foundation, the longer it's going to take for you to see some real benefits. Right? Because I'm sitting back here putting years into establishing a strong foundation. Then I'm not going to see the heights of it for a little while. Because I have to make sure the foundation is stable enough for us to be able to sustain further commitments. Like for us, we can sit back here and get a bigger building right now. We can go rent a bigger building tomorrow. But for what? Why blow rent like we was blowing rent for 10 years? Why not sit back here and build a foundation that can sustain ourselves for 20 years? So you know what? We take another step back for a longer period of time so that down the line we can sustain our strength. We can sustain our preeminence. That is the living application of this.
Scripture.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 3:10. 1 Corinthians 3:10. According to the grace of the Most High, which is given unto me, as a wise master builder, I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereon.
Exactly. If you want to build something that's not built to last, then you take shortcuts. You take easy angles. You make decisions that compromise your standard. But if you want something that's going to last a long time, you're going to more than likely have to have a difficult or a higher standard and be willing to do what's not convenient for a longer period of time so that whatever you're establishing can hold, last, and sustain for years to come.
Can I make the statement?
Yeah.
And what that may mean is you may never get the thing, the dainty, the delicate thing.
The dainties.
There's a dainty or a delicate or a quote unquote maybe a proverbial carrot on a stick or a situation that would be advantageous that I would like to be in. We all have situations that we would, it would be nice to be in this situation.
To have this. The dainty is a luxury. A dainty is a luxury.
It's not a sin to have a situation that's a little more comfortable. Or it's not a sin to have a particular situation that you may fantasize about. The difference is, do you accept the Most High not giving you that situation at the time you require it?
In exchange for what you're building. Because it's still about what are you building?
Yeah.
If I'm trying to build something that has substance, that can leave a legacy.
Yeah.
Like Shamshan brought it a few weeks ago. If I want to build something that's going to last, what am I willing to lose to establish a longer lasting legacy?
What do I have to subtract?
Because the Most High talks about not leaving a stain in your honor, right? That what is he saying? I want to sit back and establish something so rock solid, it can't be said that this generation didn't give their all to the Most High. So what am I willing to give up to ensure that? What dainties and luxury am I willing to give up so that this can be sustained? What has to come last so that the legacy, the spiritual legacy of what we're trying to commit has to last? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself in the middle of dealing with difficulties and sacrifices and loss and the spirit of depravity. Because in the midst of building something, you are depraving yourself of other things. And can I accept the trade-off? Can I accept losing this so that I can gain something that's going to last longer in the spiritual realm that I'm working at every day? These are the questions that each and every one of us have to ask ourselves as we continue to press on.
Can I make this statement too? And let's say, kind of going a little more, I guess, detail for detail. If we're dealing with, if I want a stable mind, what dainty or luxury or comfort do I have to subtract from my day so that I can keep that emotionally stable mind? If I want a better interaction with someone that I live with or someone I'm close to, what thing about me do I have to subtract that is my luxury? That I like to say I like to just say anything out my mouth whenever I want to say it. Now I have to be that much more conscious. I gotta sacrifice certain statements and certain ways of feeling for the sake of this connection I have. Yep. Everything in the spiritual realm is a give and take.
Yep. You know, the steps I take forward in the spiritual realm, I'm taking back in the flesh.
Exactly.
If I'm taking steps forward in the flesh, I'm compromising, I'm losing my spiritual strength.
Exactly. I gotta serve. I have to serve whatever I sacrifice.
Because you can't serve two masters. You can't make spiritual progress going two different directions. Okay? That's why so many of us always stay in the same situation and we look 5 years down and we haven't grown. Because whatever spiritual step I take a carnal step the next day or the next week. And that's why we're spinning our wheels. We look up 10 years, I've done nothing. I've amassed nothing. I've accomplished nothing. Okay, let's, you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up Isaiah 53 real quick, 2 and 3. This is, I'll read it. Isaiah 53 verse 2. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root of a dry ground. It's talking about Christ. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. It's verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men. My point of bringing this up is here. A man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid it as it were our faces from him. He was despised, we esteemed him not. Showing that when Christ was prophesied in the Old Testament, it showed you some of the characteristics of the lifestyle that he was going to have. He said he was going to be a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. Showing that serving the Most High doesn't mean that it's going to be happy, happy, joy, joy all the time. You're going to have to acquaint yourself with being uncomfortable. You're going to have to become accustomed to that.
Because to be acquainted means you're comfortable dealing with grief. And that's the trade-off for being so acquainted with the Spirit.
Yep.
With the spiritual lessons and wisdom that Christ had also means you're going to be acquainted with the grief that comes from losing to get the spiritual gifts that you're trying to choose and attain. You're not going to have this perfect, because everybody in life tries to shoot for what? What's that one word? Balance.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to shoot for balance, to find that sweet spot that makes you feel good and be spiritual at the same time. Right? Everybody wants that sweet spot, and there is no such thing as that sweet spot. That comfort, that balance. Everybody, what about that balance? Listen, the balance is in your acceptance of your condition. Because Christ, in his pursuit to be a servant, to be the greatest servant, because that's what Christ was. Didn't Christ say the greatest amongst you has to be the greatest servant? So in the process of being the greatest servant you can be for the Most High in Christ, you're also going to be one of the people that are acquainted with the most grief. Because being grieved and being a servant go hand in hand. They're like brothers.
Can I specify?
The sister had a question real quick.
Hold on.
I know there's scripture that says that we're supposed to serve the Lord during gladness. So in what you're saying now, it's not that you won't be happy being a servant, but it's just going to be certain things that happen that.
No, you said that right. You're supposed to be happy being a servant.
So you're supposed to be happy about it.
Hell yeah.
It's just going to be uncomfortable.
I have to be happy that my life is going to be acquainted with grief.
Okay.
Because I know that my life is acquainted with grief to please the Heavenly Father. Okay. The problem is, the scripture says, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. The people who are willing to commit their life and be acquainted with grief and be accessible to the body whenever the body needs, there's not many people who are willing to do that. And those people have to know that that small amount of people that are willing to commit like this, the Most High chose us to be that small few. And can I accept that my life is a living sacrifice so that others can have? And that's what being on the podium is about. That's what we're trying to shoot for. I'm not going to sit back and the glory of the podium.
No.
The glory. Come.
No.
Take it.
No, people.
Come forth. Come on, come on. Take your portion. I'm trying to get like Roman as I can. I'm not good at it.
I do like this.
Yes, come forth, people.
Yeah.
Come forth to the blessing.
Jews and Scythians.
If Jews and Scythians want alike,
You all.
come forth.
He was Caesar.
What's he gonna say?
I was going to say this, and how this translates for children. On a side note, as a child or as a young adult, this translates into what am I willing to miss out from the world? Do I accept missing out? Because in the world, you're going to have people advertise a lot of pleasure to you, but at the detriment of your spirit. Okay, as a female, you can dress a certain way, you can look a certain way, you can act a certain way, but the detriment is you're going to attract certain types of people to take advantage of you. As a young man, I want to go ahead and dress a certain way, act a certain way, have fun, be around people. Now I look up, I got pills in my hands. Now I look up, somebody's trying to offer me to smoke something. And they look like they have a good time, they look like they're having fun, not knowing that they're smoking and drinking because they're depressed. And the music reflects that. So they're having to get high because they are depressed. But if I'm not depressed, I don't need to sit here and do what they're doing because I have no reason to be depressed because I know the scriptures, I know the truth.
And the depression comes from a lack of understanding and acceptance. Because it's still about acceptance. I have to accept that I was put on earth to serve the Heavenly Father. And then the Most High is going to determine if I am a good servant or if I am a slothful servant. Look at it in terms of slavery times. The good servant versus the field Negro. The field Negro did what he had to do what?
Survive.
To survive. The house nigga was what? Boss? Is we sick?
We sick.
Is we sick?
We.
But you know what? Listen, and we know that those niggas was cooning, and they gonna get that, and we get that. But you can learn servitude is servitude, and can we sit back here and learn from what it takes to be a good servant? Can I sit back here and not make it about me, and make it about who my master is? And can I sit back here and learn how to look at things from the master's perspective? That's what it takes to be a good servant of the Most High in Christ.
So you said trying to ease your pain on your own instead of waiting on the Most High's.
But you're easing your pain not necessarily on your own. You're using the scriptures to put you into the spirit of acceptance.
Yep.
Can I sit back here and really accept what serving the Most High is about? Most people, when they get to the nuts and bolts of serving the Most High, they just don't want to accept Him. They don't want to accept what this life really means. And this is why most people leave, they quit, they choose other pursuits, or they just stay in limbo. They stay on the treadmill. They just burn energy, not going nowhere. Yes, sis.
In Luke 9:48, it talks about being a child, and that it says, if I can read the last part, it says, "For he that is least among you, the same shall be great." So is it saying that we should be like children, innocent, pure, wanting little, and yet in his eyes, in his kingdom, his perception, we shall be great and or considered as great?
Give me 1 Corinthians 14 and 20. I think it's 14 and 20. I'm going to answer that question with the verse. You can pull.
Yeah,
Sure.
just want to, if you read up so you understand the context of what they're talking about, the conversation that was going on. The conversation that was going on was between the disciples. And what the conversation that was going on between the disciples was this in verse 46. It says, "Then there arose a reasoning among them, which of them should be greatest." So the conversation that the disciples were having was which one of the followers of Christ was going to be the greatest. That was the debate that they were having amongst themselves. You know, which one was going to have the highest elevated position? Which one would be in the position of leadership amongst the disciples? You know what I'm saying? Or have the highest rank, so to speak, amongst the disciples. So the parable was based upon a conversation and a mentality of how high am I going to be in Christ? And am I going to be higher than the next person? Mm-hmm. So then when you read verse 46, I'll read on from 47. It says, "And Jesus, perceiving the thought of their heart, took a child and set him by, and it said unto them, Whosoever shall receive this child in my name receiveth me. And whosoever shall receive me receiveth him that sent me. For he that is least among you all, the same shall be greatest." Meaning, you're supposed to put yourself in a position of being last. So if you want to be great in Christ, then prepare yourself to be brought low. Make yourself the greatest servant and the least as far as rank or position or notoriety or prestige or honor. That's what he was saying.
Does that go with this context?
As far as it does if you try to be great in Christ. Then what he's saying is, it's still talking about the same class as far as preparing yourself to be put on low.
And then 1 Corinthians 14 and 20.
1 Corinthians 14 and 20. Brethren, be not children in understanding.
Be not a child in understanding. Because a child thinks in very simple, very basic terms. Don't be a child in your understanding. Read on.
Howbeit, in malice be ye children.
In your willingness to hold a grudge, you have to be like a child. In how children are easy and quick to forgive, be like a child. We're supposed to function like children in our ability to see the good in people. But in understanding, you got to be a goddamn adult. Read on.
But in understanding, be men.
Be men in understanding, but in mercy, love, forgiveness, consideration. Be like a child. Now that's hard to do. Because when you're sitting back here thinking like an adult, most adults are trying to think about what? Coming up. Angles to get what you want, angles to manipulate a situation, angles to control a circumstance.
I'll never be low.
A child ain't trying to sit back and think about control and manipulation. A child ain't worried about what I'm going to eat tomorrow, next week. If I got a snack, I'm going to get a snack up. I'm not going to hold a grudge. Oh, you did this to me 5 years ago. Children are naturally built to forgive. So I have to have the ability to let things go, forgive, be merciful, but not be no idiot. Spiritually. And having to be able to balance out when to constantly rescind and give up control so I can be merciful and forgive. Yes?
John, in context was like what everybody's talking about. It was Philippians 4 and 12.
Based on the Bible?
Okay.
Yeah, we can go there. Go there real quick.
Philippians 4 and 12 reads, I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound.
When it said I know how to be abased and abound, my mindset doesn't change. Because if I accept my position in the Most High in Christ, if I accept my choice to serve the Most High, then whether I'm up and down doesn't matter. My pursuits are genuine, my pursuits are consistent, and my love is my love. I get up in the morning to serve the Most High, so whether I'm on top or down doesn't change anything. Whether I'm having a bad day, bad week, bad month, hey, I'm getting right back up to the same damn thing in the morning because my desire is to please and serve the Heavenly Father and not myself. Read on.
Everywhere and in all things, I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry.
I understand how to function with excess around me, and I know how to function when there's scarceness around me. I can function in both arenas, and my outlook towards the Most High doesn't change. A lot of us, if things are scarce, we're wired different. Everybody's wired a little different. Some people, when things are going good, they forget the Most High.
Yeah.
Some people, when things are going good, they read the Bible. With others, when things are going bad, they stop reading. Or some people, when things are going bad, they come to class every day. Everybody's a little different and weird like that. Point is, I'm supposed to love the Most High and stay with a clear perspective regardless of my condition. Okay, let's kind of get back in on our topic. Oh, I'm sorry, I want to say something.
One point.
No, you're good.
And,
I'm sorry. I'm trying to control the situation. See, I'm in the wrong.
I just want to go to Philippians 1:22 real quick.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please.
Philippians what? 1?
Chapter 1, verse 22.
1 to 22.
Philippians 1 and 22. Read.
Somebody got it.
I got it. Philippians 1 and 22.
Thanks,
but if
brother.
I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor.
If I do what?
Oh, it's good.
But if I live in the flesh,
if I live, because remember, you have to choose a place where you're going to live. Okay, live means to abide, manner of being. You have a set of values. You have a certain routine. You have a certain schedule. You have a certain philosophy or perspective. Wherever you live, that's where your mind's based on. Based on we're products of what? We're products of environment, right? If I'm from New York, I have a New York state of mind. From the South, I have that Southern way of hospitality energy. From the West Coast, I have a certain perspective. I'm not from there. I don't know. But the point is, people from the West Coast have their way of looking at life. They have their
very chill vibe.
They have their philosophy. I don't know that.
They do.
You know what I'm saying?
But
not
really. This man knows not of what he's speaking. I gotta get off biblical. I gotta put the ETH behind everyone. This man knows not what he saith.
But when you're looking at where a person lives determines their taste, their wants, their values, and desires of their life. So what the scripture is saying right here, read that point from the top again.
But if I live in the flesh,
read on.
This is the fruit of my labor.
So whatever your flesh is, everybody has a different set of things that are fleshly.
The flesh doesn't necessarily mean I'm breaking laws and I'm smoking crack.
People think
that doesn't mean necessarily the flesh.
Only being gay and smoking crack.
Everybody wants to say the flesh is being gay, smoking crack.
It, you bad.
Crack is whack, right? We know that.
There's different variations of the flesh. Some variations of flesh is it has to be all eyes on me all the time. Some variations of flesh is, you know what, I gotta have the last word. Some variations of flesh is I need to indulge in secrecy. There's different variations. And so you have to choose, am I going to sit here and accept the loss of my particular variation of the flesh? Do I accept the loss of it? You're still gonna be you, but can you accept losing that? And not go crazy and not lose your sanity? Because your flesh should not dictate how you look at people, how you look at God, how you look at your life. The losing of your flesh can't dictate that. Because athletes, when they break a knee, man, life used to be good, and I broke my knee, and life is downhill now. I ain't doing this. I ain't the same guy I used to be. Right?
You need a knee sprain.
So you know what? Because their whole life was developed on just their physicality. So now the rest of their life is downhill. But when we're trying to be spiritual people, our life is developed on how well can I serve? How spiritual am I? How biblical am I? How giving am I? How forgiving am I? You can never run out of work for that. So if your happiness comes from that set of work, the set of servitude, building new sisters, building new brothers, giving yourself to the children, giving yourself to development, overcoming yourself, you're never going to run out. If your self-esteem is based on that, you will be happy. You'll have acceptance, because my self-esteem is based off of something spiritual. But if my self-esteem is based off of my looks, I have to look a certain way. My need, man, I score a lot of points. I get so much money per week. I got a lot of money. I got plenty of money in my hand, dog. Whatever the situation is, if your self-esteem is based off of that, you're gonna have this I'm falling spirit. You're gonna have this I'm unhappy spirit. I can't get on top. So it's about disciplining what makes you feel happy every day. You're constantly disciplining yourself on how to look at people, how to look at your life. Read on the scripture. I'm gonna finish this point. Read on the scripture.
Yet what I shall choose, I what not.
So no, don't read that part. Read from the top one more time. I'm sorry about that.
Philippians 1:22. But if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor.
Listen, you got your reward. If you wanted the attention and you got the attention, that was the reward. Now don't want what somebody else wants. Somebody else has. Okay, if I wanted money, okay, the fact you have money should be fulfilled. The funny part is people leave the truth and pursue the things and they're still not happy. That's what drives me crazy. Okay, you want your money, you got your money, be good. Oh, I'm still sad.
Brothers want brotherhood, time, all this energy, and pursue their life.
You chose what you wanted and you got it now. Why are you still unhappy? Because the flesh is not fulfilling. That's why Sean was going to, you have to keep building your foundation. Your fulfillment comes from your sacrifices, your spiritual sacrifices, not necessarily your rewards.
And the funny thing is, Darian's painting a good picture, but when you're reading about Paul, and this is reading about Paul's internal battle, Paul, his only challenge was, do I keep serving the Most High, or do I want to go to Christ and die? That was it for him. It's better it's easier and better I go die and go be with Christ my Father than sit back here and then or sit back here and keep teaching. But he says, you know what's more necessary is me being there for you. So let me sit back here and be there for you. And so what Paul did, he made his focus on the service of the body more than his flesh. But yeah, I just want to bring that point out. It was still about Paul understanding when you're sitting back here and you're committed to this work, the only thing that matters is getting this work done and being more effective in the work. This is what we should all be working towards. If the goal is to lead, I got to keep taking steps to justify the decisions that I make in Christ. And don't look back. But anyway, I don't want to keep bringing on that point because we can make another 2 hours on this. Let's kind of get back into reading. Let's go back into the Josephus.
The delicate Egyptian.
Yeah, delicate ass Egyptians, them fancy boys. Book 2, Antiquities of the Jews, Book 2, Chapter 9.
You're gonna leave us.
Yeah. Okay.
Antiquities of the Jews, Book 2, Chapter 9.
Off the top, the beginning of the paragraph.
1. Now it happened that the Egyptians grew delicate and lazy.
So they got comfortable in their position of power as to painstaking. Read on.
And gave themselves up to other pleasures, and in particular the love of gain. They also became very ill affected towards the Hebrews, as touched with envy at their prosperity.
So now they were focused on their comfort, but they also saw that the Hebrews were were on their tails, were nipping at their heels because they were growing and picking up, and the Egyptians were lazy and comfortable. Okay, read on.
For when they saw how the nation of the Israelites flourished and were become eminent, already in plenty of wealth, which they had acquired by their virtue and natural love of labor.
Stop. Wow. I want to make sure we understand that. When you sit back and read Exodus 1 and 7, read that real quick.
Exodus chapter 1 and chapter
7. Chapter 1, verse 7.
God.
We're going to go back to your point, Elisha. Read that.
And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them.
So when you're reading about how Israel increased abundantly and multiplied, it wasn't just because the Most High was just blessing them. A lot of times when you read that, you just think, oh, the Most High was hooking them up and just taking care of everything they touched. This was working. There's a formula to success. There is a formula to the Most High blessing us. It's not just you just wake up, you get blessed because the Most High is with you.
Because I'm an Israelite.
Because I'm an Israelite and I read the Torah and I read the hell out of the damn scriptures every damn day.
Give me mine.
It's more than that.
Come.
It's more than just getting good at blowing his damn horn. It's going to tell you. He said, read that part again, Elijah.
Yeah.
Which they had acquired by their virtue.
He said that. He said, little higher up.
Fine. Kind. But when they saw the nation of the Israelites flourish and were become eminent already in plenty of wealth.
They were becoming eminent already in plenty of wealth. Why were the Israelites becoming eminent in plenty of wealth? Read on.
Which they had acquired by their virtue and natural love of labor.
By their virtues, meaning their natural talent, because that's virtue, right?
Okay.
Isn't virtue what you're blessed with? Your good attributes, the good things you have. But is it just your virtue? It's just your winning smile, or your charisma, or your height and your size? It's charisma, it's whatever the Most High gave you, and a natural love of labor. Why is Israel diminished so much? Because we hate working. We sit back here, we got that delicate ass Egyptian mentality without having shit. We act like Egyptians, you broke as hell. At least they got an excuse, they rich. We act like, oh man, I'm too dainty, I don't want to lose nothing. I don't want to get my hands calloused.
I don't want to work in the
It's gonna mess up my shea butter on my fingers, huh? They got shea butters, they got creams and oils. But they got foot oils and foot creams. They don't want to sit back here and lose their delicate, but I'm broke as hell.
Yeah.
I'm broke as hell, but I'm acting like I got an opinion or I got to be all super. I can't break a nail. He said Israel had virtues and had a natural love of labor, and this is why Israel increased abundantly and multiplied. They weren't just having babies, having 12 kids in the house and eating soup every night. That wasn't the abundantly they were having. They were having things. They were increasing. They followed Jacob's pattern of diligence and hard work and sacrifice to get to a larger goal. What it also shows you, you can be in a foreign country and have a goddamn work ethic. These damn Israelites that don't want to sit back here, not just Israel and the truth, but it's Israel, our people in general, don't want to work for shit. They want to have a handout and expect things to come to them. The Most High is showing you, He'll bless all of us if we unite and work hard and have a love of labor for each other, for the body. We can get blessed if we desire to work. But everybody wants to be cute and soft and in a little position and don't want to lose nothing. And wonder why we can't grow as a nation. He's telling you, the ones who just sit back and don't want to get their hands dirty and get their hands in the mud, listen, you're not going to get nothing in this place. But Israel's so used to coasting, just coasting, giving bare minimum. But that wasn't our nature in the beginning. Our nature was a love of labor, an enthusiasm to work hard, grind, and because of that sacrifice, you get somewhere. The body gets somewhere. Read on.
They thought their increase was to their own detriment.
Yeah, the Egyptians were like, man, these guys are picking up. They're going to take the land over eventually. All it's going to take, they got this whole side of Goshen is theirs. All they got to do is get an army and cross over. We sitting back here eating grapes and shit. Having fans been thrown on us and shit like this.
Yeah, they was doing that.
You know they getting the fans on them. They just, give me grapes. They dropping the grapes in their mouth.
They clap.
Yeah.
Hurry.
I love
More wine.
I love my life.
More wine. That's what the Egyptian was doing, but Israel was grinding, and they was the threat. All they had to do was cross the river, and they on their head. This is why the Pharaoh sat back here and looked at them and had to do what they had to do with them. Read on.
And having, in length of time, forgotten the benefits they had received from Joseph.
And they had forgot that Joseph is the one who set them up in the first place. You read all throughout the scriptures. Even Abraham taught these cats mathematics. The Hebrews are the ones who helped elevate their society in the beginning. So all these Egyptian Book of the Dead idiots think all civilization came from Egypt. No, Joseph set you up financially, and Abraham taught you arithmetic.
Yeah.
I said inside joke from last week. He taught him arithmetic, taught him math.
Yeah.
Okay, polynomials. I was gonna say that too.
They needed that.
Listen, I'm joking about the polynomials. I can't say that for sure. Right? It did say mathematics, all right? Anyway, let's keep
But you know what? We built up America though.
I know that.
With our ingenuity. You know what I'm saying?
Our hard work, our dedication built this place up. Because without free slave labor, they wouldn't have been the #1 exporter in the damn world.
Well,
that's how they became the world power. I can export all these goods at I don't gotta pay nobody to get this done.
No overhead.
I'm getting maximum profits. I'm just shipping stuff out, bro, and getting paid. That's how they got on top. Listen, you know, it's crazy is the North wants to talk about the South. The North had the textiles that came from the Southern cotton plantations. So they shoot all the cotton up to the textile spots up in East Coast. They get the work done, shoot it out to Europe and stuff, and get paid and get riches. It was a system. Anyway, let's keep going. In the Josephus.
Particularly the crown being now come into another family, they became very abusive to the Israelites and contrived many ways of afflicting them. For they enjoined them to cut a great number of channels for the river and to build walls for their cities and ramparts.
They want to build walls so these damn niggas won't cross them. You got to build these walls to keep this threat from crossing over.
Sound familiar?
Sounds very familiar. Exactly. I don't think their walls was falling though. This guy's walls was falling and breaking down. Anyway, keep going.
That they might restrain the river and hinder its waters from stagnating. Upon its running over its own banks, they set them also to build pyramids, and by all this wore them out.
So they were sitting back here and putting all these tasks to keep them busy and to keep them from flourishing, to help refortify the kingdom of Egypt. Okay, read on.
And forced them to learn all sorts of mechanical arts and to accustom themselves to hard labor.
Listen, it takes mechanical arts to sit back here.
That's crazy.
And make these damn pyramids, man. How you gonna cut this, whatever was used to make the pyramids, to cut it with such precision to where you don't need mortar? Those things didn't have no mortar. It was just perfectly connected. And they were just tombs. They were just fancy tombs, man. For the most part. Anyway, read on.
And 400 years did they spend under these afflictions.
That's debatable. Read on.
For they strove one against the other, which should get the mastery. The Egyptians desiring to destroy the Israelites by these labors, and the Israelites desiring to hold out to the end under them.
Okay, now we're going to go back to Exodus 1 and 12. I'm going to need you for that second paragraph and a little last shot. So just get ready. Keep going, my Waller.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 12 reads.
Give me verse 11.
Verse 11 reads, Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom, and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
Because we know the Most High was getting them ready to get back to their land. Okay, read on.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
The beautiful thing is we were already accustomed to that hard work anyway. Because we were already putting it in for the benefit of the nation. Read on.
And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of the Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
Now we're going to hold this and go back to paragraph 2 so we can explain. Because I never understood why in the heck when we was going to try to kill the slave labor off. You just had them in slavery and bondage. Why would you want to kill all the young men that were going to come up out the womb? Why kill the young male babies? We're going to read it in paragraph 2. Read that. It's once again, it's Antiquities of the Jews for everybody online. Antiquities of the Jews, book 2, paragraph 9. I'm sorry, book 2, chapter 9, paragraph 2.
While the affairs of the Hebrews were in this condition, there was this occasion offered themselves to the Egyptians, which made them more solicitous for the extinction of our nation. One of those sacred scribes, who are very sagacious in the foretelling future events. True.
So it was an Egyptian who was sagacious and sitting back here and telling the future. Read on.
Told the king that about this time there would a child be born to the Israelites, who, if he were reared, would bring the Egyptian dominion low and would raise the Israelites.
So he's like, listen, this is why the kids had to die. This is why the boys had to die. Because their scribes was like, listen, man, there's gonna be a kid that comes out of here, man. If you let this nigga raise up, it's over for us. It's the beginning and the end. So then the decree came in. Every boy that comes out of that stool, he gotta go. So we can neutralize this prophecy. It was the same prophecy about Christ. Let's kill all these boys off so we can sit back and kill this threat to the king. Yes.
In 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 8, read that real quick. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 8.
2 Timothy 3?
Mm-hmm. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 8.
2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 8. Now as Janus and Jambres.
Read it again.
Now as Janus,
go ahead.
Janus and Jambres withstood Moses.
These were the two high priests, sorcerers, magicians of the Egyptian empire. These are the ones that gave the prophecy that you have to kill off the child, the firstborn. You have to kill off the men. Yep. You know what I'm saying? These were the high priests of the Egyptians. Go ahead.
So do these also resist the truth?
But he said in latter times there's going to be another set of Janus and Jambres. People, you know what I'm saying? People that go against the truth. That's trying to stop the truth.
And that's the thing. We can't get past the fact that there's always going to be that counterbalance to us trying to do the work.
Every time you try to do right, there's always going to be somebody trying to withstand you.
Exactly. We got to keep looking for our Janus and Jambreses, man, and keep avoiding them. Keep working. You know what the funny thing is? It's not even about avoiding them. It's just you acknowledge them and work through them and get past it. Because everybody's going to have somebody get in the way of progress. Somebody get in the way of the good that's being done. And Janus and Jambres was the one that told Pharaoh, hey, get this dude out. Because if not, we're going to fall. It just shows you every time something good happens, something on the back end has to come to kind of neutralize the good that's trying to happen.
Right.
It was the same thing happened when we were trying to sit back here and rebuild the temple when the Persian king allowed us to do it. And then some hater from Syria wrote the damn king and said, man, if you let these Jews get the temple, they ain't going to pay you no damn fare no more, no tithes.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they shut down the building of the temple. There's always a hater out there that's trying to get in the way of progress. I'm sorry, I said to bring that out.
No, that's it. I just wanted to bring that up to show that's who it was that was doing the sorcery. The magicians, the ones that we read about that set the decree that you got to put to death the firstborn male children, or the male children of the Hebrew women.
It is just the point. Where it is good is, evil is what?
Present.
Those are facts. You can't get around them. We can't be aghast and astonished because it happens. So now keep going into Josephus.
That he would excel all men in virtue.
He says this man or this young boy would eventually excel all men in virtue. Read on.
And obtain a glory that will be remembered through all ages.
Phenomenal. Read on.
Which thing was so feared by the king that according to this man's opinion, he commanded that they should cast every male child which was born to the Israelites into the river and destroy it. That besides this, the Egyptian midwives should watch the labors of the Hebrew women and observe what is born. For those were the women who were enjoined to do the office of midwives to them. Mm-hmm. And by reason of their relation to the king, would not transgress his command.
So these midwives were going to do what they were told. Read on.
He enjoined also that if any parent should disobey him, and venture to save their male child alive, they and their families should be destroyed. This was a severe affliction indeed to those that suffered it, not only as they were deprived of their sons, and while they were the parents themselves, they were obliged to be subservient to the destruction of their own children, but as it was to be supposed to tend to the extirpation of their nation, while upon the destruction of their children and their own gradual dissolution, the calamity would become very hard and inconsolable to them. And this was the ill state they were in. But no one can be too hard for the purpose of the Most High. Though he contrived 10,000 subtle devices for that end, for this child, whom the sacred scribe foretold, was brought up and concealed from the observers appointed by the king. And he that foretold him did not mistake in the consequences of his preservation, which were brought to pass after the manner of following.
Okay. Now we're going to go back to Exodus. Give me verse 15, chapter 1, verse 15.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 15 reads, And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, When you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared the Most High, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for their midwives, and said unto them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them.
So what he's saying is that the Hebrew women don't roll like the Egyptian woman. They weren't so caught up in the labors and the pains of the child. They weren't so caught up in that. They were able to get the child out and get him to freedom somehow. Get him out of the way, because obviously the midwife came at a certain time when the child was about to be born. So they're saying the Hebrew was able to get these kids out and get them out before the midwives would come in. Okay? Read on.
Therefore the Most High dealt well with the midwives.
He's also showing when we are operating at our best spiritually, then the truth is when we're sitting back here and locked into Christ and following the Most High, we are superior to the rest of the nations, man. I just don't like pulling that superior card. I don't like pulling that Deuteronomy 7 and 6 card when we're not living right. We're not living up to the morals and standards the Most High set us up. We're no different than anybody else. We're sitting right here following this law, following these words, committing ourselves, serving the Most High. We are superior to the rest of the world. If. It's a big if, though. The condition is the servitude. But keep going.
Therefore the Most High dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty.
So nothing could be done to stop the progress and the growth of the nation. Read on.
And it came to pass, because the midwives feared the Most High, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months.
Hold that and go to paragraph 3. It says that the man was Amram. That goodly man, that man that bare a son, that was a goodly child. Read paragraph 3 in the Josephus.
Antiquities of the Jews, Book 2, Chapter 9, Paragraph 3. A man whose name was Amram, one of the nobler sort of the Hebrews.
So Moses' father was a nobleman. He had good stock. Read on.
Was afraid for his whole nation, lest it should fail, by the want of young men to be brought up hereafter, and was very uneasy at it. His wife being with child, and he knew not what to do. Hereupon he took himself to prayer to the Most High, and entreated him to have compassion on those men who had no wise transgressed the law of his worship, and to afford them deliverance from the miseries they at time endured, and to render abortive their enemies' hopes of the destruction of their nation.
This is also why, and you're reading Exodus, why the Most High was putting the spirit through these midwives not to slay the sons. Because the men were praying to the Most High, asking that the children, I'm sorry, let me make sure I got this right. Israel was praying to the Most High, asking that the people that weren't committing transgressions, that their children wouldn't get killed. This is what Amram, Moses' father, was saying. Read on.
Accordingly to the Most High had mercy on him, and was moved by his supplication. He stood by him in his sleep, and exhorted him not to despair of his future favors. He said further that he did not forget their piety towards him.
Their servitude. He's talking about when it says the noblemen, it's people that were honorable to the Most High. The Most High is reminding Amram and all the people that were noble and honorable and didn't transgress in the Heavenly Father's sight that he didn't forget them. He's doing this for them. Read on.
And would always reward them for it, as he had formerly granted his favor to their forefathers, and made them increase from a few to so great a multitude. He put him in mind that when Abraham was come along out of Mesopotamia into Canaan, he had been made happy, not only in other respects, but that when his wife was at first barren, she was afterwards by him enabled to conceive seed and bear him sons, that he left to Ishmael and to his posterity the country of Arabia, as also to his sons by Keturah.
Troglodytes.
Troglodytes. And to Isaac Canaan, that by my assistance, said he did great exploits in war, which unless ye be yourselves impious, you must still remember.
He says, what he's saying there is that he was there for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And as long as you're not impious, meaning out of order, as long as you stay in order, as long as you don't transgress, I'm going to do the same for you. Read on.
As for Jacob, he became well known to strangers also, by the greatness of that prosperity in which he lived, and left to his sons, who came into Egypt with no more than 70 souls, while you are now become above 600,000.
It's crazy.
Know therefore that I shall provide for you all in common what is for your good, and particularly by thyself what shall make thee famous for that child, out of dread of whose nativity the Egyptians have doomed the Israelite children to destruction, shall be this child of thine, and shall be concealed from those who watch to destroy him. And when he is brought up in a surprising way, he shall deliver the Hebrew nation from the distress they are under from the Egyptians. His memory shall be famous while the world lasts, and this not only among the Hebrews, but foreigners also.
Man.
All which shall be the effect of my favor to thee, and to thy posterity. He shall also have such a brother, that he shall himself obtain my priesthood, and his posterity shall have it after him to the end of the world.
Read on.
Paragraph 4. When the vision had informed him of these things, Amram awaked and told it to
Jochebed,
who was his wife,
which was Moses' mother. Read on.
And out of fear increased upon them on the account of the prediction and Amram's dream. For they were under concern, not only for the child, but on the account of the great happiness that was to come to him also. However, the mother's labor was such as afforded a confirmation to what as was foretold by the Most High, for it was not known to those that watched her, by the easiness of her pains, and because the throes of her delivery did not fall upon her with violence.
So what he's saying is, the Most High didn't make that childbirthing be difficult. It was the ease of her pains. The Most High didn't make that situation be a difficult scenario. So she was able to have that baby without pain, without a lot of pain, and so she wouldn't make a lot of noise. So nobody knew she had the kid. Remember we read about the midwives, where it said they're livelier than the Egyptians. They're able to sit back and have these kids without us even knowing. Because normally a midwife be able to hear all the yelling of the mother or the pains and all the dynamics she's going through. She's like, man, I'm going to the damn baby time and ain't no baby there. There ain't no yelling, ain't no crying. They had a kid and they out. But the Most High set it up for them like this. The Most High set this situation up. Okay? Read on.
And now they nursed the child at home privately for 3 months.
And they was able to sit back here and keep it cool for 3 months without anybody knowing. Read on.
But after that time, Amram, fearing he should be discovered, and by falling under the king's displeasure, both he and his child should perish. And so he should make the promise of the Most High of non-effect. He determined rather to entrust the safety and care of the child to the Most High than to depend on his own concealment of him.
Once again, that was Amram rescinding control and saying, man, I'm giving it to the Most High, man. I can sit back here and keep hiding them, but it's not going to work. Read on.
Which he looked upon as a thing uncertain, and whereby both the child, so privately to be nourished, and himself should be in imminent danger. But he believed that the Most High would some way for certain procure the safety of the child, in order to secure the truth of his own predictions. When they had thus determined, they made an ark of bulrushes, after the manner of a cradle, and of a bigness sufficient for an infant to be laid in, without being too straitened. They then daubed it over with slime.
So that means they sealed it. They sealed it so it could flow. Read on.
Which would naturally keep out the water from entering both the bulrushes, and put the infant into it, and setting it afloat upon the river. They left its preservation to the Most High. So the river received the child and carried him along. But Miriam, the child's sister, passed along upon the bank over against it, as her mother had bid her, to see whether the ark would be carried, where the Most High demonstrated that human wisdom was nothing, but that the Supreme Being is able to do whatsoever he pleases. That those who, in order to their own security, condemn others to destruction, and use great endeavors about it, fail of their purpose. But that others are in a surprising manner preserved, and obtain a prosperous condition, almost from the very midst of their calamities. Those, I mean, whose dangers arise by the appointment of the Most High, and indeed, such a providence was exercised in the case of this child, as shown the power of the Most High.
Could you read that one part one more time? It's 20.
Where the Most High demonstrated that human wisdom was nothing?
Yeah.
Where the Most High demonstrated, I don't know what number that is.
222.
222. Where the Most High demonstrated that human wisdom was nothing.
Wow.
But this is very critical, because there's human wisdom set aside to annihilate Black and Hispanic populations. That's what Planned Parenthood is all about.
Yep.
These are contrived human designs that Bill Gates, his wife Melinda Gates, and his father, the older Bill Gates, the senior, whoever he was the head of Planned Parenthood. He was the CEO of Planned Parenthood, and their whole objective is to annihilate colored nations. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that their numbers are being offset. So all of these are just plans of an enemy to overthrow our numbers, because our numbers are populating more than their numbers, and it's always been a concern. Read on.
But that the Supreme Being is able to do whatsoever he pleases.
Exactly.
That those who, in order to their own security.
So by them trying to preserve themselves and keep themselves in a high number, you know what I'm saying, they come up with this notion that in order for us to survive, read on,
condemn others to destruction.
We have to destroy the other people so that we can survive.
So I can control the narrative.
Right, and that mentality is nothing new. The Egyptians had that mentality. You know what? These Hebrews, they're getting stronger. They're becoming wiser. They're growing in wealth. They're gonna overrun our population. Next, we'll be serving them. The white man had the same fear when he brought us over in slavery. I just want to read this one part. It's called America in 1750. Recommended. It's just a quick portion showing some numbers of Black population. It says in In the colonies as a whole, the black population, spurred by the slave trade, was outstripping the growth rate of the whites.
Wow.
So it's showing you that that same fear has always been there. Even when they brought us over here, it didn't take long before we began to be the more dominant population. It says, I'll read it again. It says, in the colonies as a whole, the black population, spurred by the slave trade, was outstripping the growth rate of the whites. Negroes, almost all of them slaves, were of a good deal more than doubling their numbers every 20 years. In 1750, there were about 236,000 in the colonies, and the number had tripled since 1730. So from 1730 to 1750, the black population tripled. It says the number of blacks, too, would almost again double by 1770. In the economy of the South and in the mind of the white man, the Negro already loomed large. So it became a concern of the white men that this black population was growing so fast and so rapidly. And so they were already coming up with ideas to eliminate the black man, even though they needed him for the slave trade. But read that part again. Yeah, just that 222.
Yeah. Where the Most High demonstrated that human wisdom was nothing, but that the Supreme Being is able to do whatsoever He pleases. That those who, in order to their own security, condemn others to destruction and use great endeavors about it.
There's all kind of endeavors to keep prison. The prison industrial complex is a great endeavor. That's a mechanism that's used to keep us locked up, put away, or out of sight, or to destroy our numbers. Yeah. Planned Parenthood is a way to limit our numbers and destroy our population. What'd you say, sis?
To control us.
Yeah, to control it. There's all types of systems put in place to annihilate us as a people, because we're overpopulating. Go ahead. With the black and Hispanic population. Go ahead.
Fail of their purpose.
But they'll do what?
Fail of their purpose.
Just like it failed in the Egyptians' time to eliminate us, the Hebrews, it's going to fail in this time to try to eliminate us by those designs that they have. Putting us back then, they were just, if you were just in the 1960s and 70s, that's why Muhammad Ali had to go to jail. They would just put you in the draft. Yep. You was a young black man. A lot of those people went to Vietnam was poor black and Hispanic populations and families. Yep. Those were the main ones. If you weren't signed up to college, which obviously we couldn't afford college, so if you weren't a student in college, you were automatically drafted to go die in Vietnam. Yep. That's who made up the bulk of Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? So there was always a plan to put us away. But the Most High said, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." So He always has us in a position where we're the underdog trying to get eliminated, but it's never going to work. That's why I just want to read this right here, what you just read, because it's going to fail. There are plans to eliminate us, and our numbers are going to fail. All right? I just want to bring that out.
Perfect. Okay. Now let's go back to Exodus. Read verse 1 again, 2 and 1. What does he have to stop at?
Verse 4.
Okay, cool. Start at verse 1 again.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 1 reads, "And there went a man of the house of Levi."
Now we know his name was Amram or Amram. Read on.
"And took to wife a daughter of Levi. Mm-hmm. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months."
So we have a little more of the backstory there. That's why it's kind of good to go to the antiquities of the Jews or the Josephus to kind of get a little insight on what was happening. Okay, let's keep going.
"And when she could not longer hide him."
So it was 3 months they had him, and then we read that Amram was like, "Listen, well, we got to get him out and let the Most High take care of this so we can fulfill this prophecy that the Most High told me in a dream." Okay, read on.
"She took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's bank. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him."
That's so it. Miriam.
That's it.
So Miriam sat back here and was following the cradle or the bulrush to sit back here and make sure she would find out where the baby cradle would go. So now we're gonna sneak the next man in. Who's next? All right, Bob. Let's get this. So, I don't know. Maybe Quam's in the restroom. Quam, I need you to read, sir. Quam's coming.
Oh, he's coming.
No, Quam's coming. It's okay. It's okay. He's coming. It's coming. It's cool. Yeah. We're gonna definitely go back there.
Kwam ban Yashala, Shah Shabbatah, ban Yehoda, ban Yashala.
Kwam ban Yashala, Shah Shabbatah, ban Yehoda, ban Yashala. I imagine. Rock. Yahweh Hashem Yashar Brakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yashar Brakatah.
Yashbatah. Okay.
Okay, he's starting at Exodus chapter 2, verse 5.
Okay. Where's he go to?
He's going to go to Exodus chapter 3, verse 5.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's get it.
Exodus chapter 2, verse 5. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it.
So the Most High set it up to where the mother was able to nurse Moses for longer. Okay? Let me go paragraph 5 in Antiquities of the Jews. Once again, it's book 2, chapter 9, paragraph 5 kind of explains this.
Yeah. Thermuthis.
Yeah, Thermuthis. Yeah.
Thermuthis was the king's daughter. She was now diverting herself by the banks of the river, and seeing a cradle borne along by the current, she sent some that could swim, and bid them to bring the cradle to her. When those that were sent on this errand,
first of all, that means this damn bank was big as hell. You just sit back and see some swimmers out there.
They be floating out there.
They be floating out. I mean, you ain't gonna be some ankle deep water, man. Some knee deep water, man. That baby was in some water.
Right, and if it's the Nile River, the Nile in certain parts of the Nile is up to a mile wide. So it's not a small river.
I can't add or take away. I don't know what
river.
Don't know,
but
when that woman say go get some swimmers,
right? That's
real.
And then there's crocodiles over there too.
So that means they had a spear in one hand, a spear in the back. And had a little shit like this. So what?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep going.
came to her with the cradle, and she saw the little child. She was greatly in love with it, on account of its largeness and beauty. For the Most High had taken such great care in the formation of Moses.
The Most High took great care in the formation of Moses. Read on.
That he caused him to be thought worthy of bringing up.
And the Most High had to work that up also. He had to make him look a certain way, make him beautiful, so that Thermotheus would actually take him. All of it worked into plan. Read on.
And providing for by all those that had taken the most fatal resolutions on the account of his nativity.
Of the dread.
Of the dread of his nativity. For the destruction of the rest of the Hebrew nation. Thermotheus bid him bring her a woman that might afford her breast to the child. Yet would not the children admit of her breast, but turned away from it, and did the like to many other women. Now Miriam was by when this happened, not to appear to be there on purpose, but only as staying to see the child. And she said, It is in vain that thou, O queen, callest for these women for the nourishing of the child, who are no way of kin to it.
So the baby didn't want that Egyptian milk.
Man.
I was gonna say something else, but the baby didn't want the milk.
It tastes spoiled.
It tastes spoiled. That's hilarious.
Got coke in it.
Yeah, listen. It is what it is. It tastes spoiled. Okay? That's how he said it. I'm just repeating it. That sounded better. He said it better than I said it. It tastes spoiled. So Miriam was like, "Listen, you gotta find a Hebrew woman to sit back here and nurse this child." Read on.
But still, if thou would order one of the Hebrew women to be brought, perhaps it may admit the breast of one of its own nation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since she seemed to speak well, Demetrius bid her procure such a one, and to bring one of those Hebrew women that gave suck. So when she had such authority given her, she came back and brought the mother, whom was known to nobody there. And now the child gladly admitted the breast, and seemed to stick close to it. And so it was, that at the queen's desire, the nursing of the child was entirely entrusted to the mother.
You think the Most High set all that up, regardless of all the danger, he still set up that child to be nurtured by his mother. Phenomenal. Let's keep going.
Hereupon, it was that Demetrius imposed this name, Moses, upon him from what had happened when he was put into the river.
Matter of fact, hold this. We're going to go and read verse 5. And where are we at?
It's in Exodus
2
and 10.
He's going to start.
Already in 10? We're already in 10? Yeah. Read verse 10.
Exodus 2 and 10. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, because I drew him out of the water.
Because Moses is Mashah, which means drawn from the waters. Read on.
And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren.
Now hold tight. Before we jump in there, paragraph 6 gives a little bit of filler information leading up to verse 11. So let's go back to paragraph 6 in the Josephus.
For the Egyptians call water by the name of Mo, and such as are saved out of it by the name of Usus. So by putting these two words together, they imposed this name upon him. And he was, by the confession of all, according to the Most High's prediction, as well for his greatness of mind, as for his contempt of difficulties, the best of all the Hebrews. For Abraham was his ancestor of the seventh generation. For Moses was the son of Amram, who was the son of Caab, whose father Levi was the son of Jacob, who was the son of Isaac, who was the son of Abraham. Now Moses' understanding became superior to his age.
He says his understanding was superior to his age. Read on.
Nay, far beyond that standard. And when he was taught, he discovered greater quicknesses of apprehension than was usual for his age.
His intelligence was above average, way above average. Read on.
And his actions at that time promised greater. When he should come to the age of a man, the Most High did also give him that tallness.
He was tall. Read on.
When he was but 3 years old, as was wonderful, and as for his beauty, there was nobody so unpolite as. When they saw Moses, they were not greatly surprised at the beauty of his countenance.
Tall, dark, and handsome, and intelligent, and smart. Read on.
Nay, it happened frequently that those that met him as he was carried along the road were obliged to turn again upon seeing the child, that they left what they were about and stood still a great while to look on him.
Wow.
For the beauty of the child was so remarkable and natural to him on many accounts that it detained the spectators.
That's crazy, man.
And made them stay longer to look upon him. Demetrius, therefore, perceiving him to be so remarkable a child, adopted him for her son, having no child of her own. And when one time she had carried Moses to her father, she showed him to him, and said she thought to make him her father's successor, if it should please the Most High. she should have no legitimate child of her own, and said to him, I have brought up a child who is of a divine form and a generous mind, and as I have received him from the bounty of the river in a wonderful manner, I thought proper to adopt him for my son and the heir of thy kingdom. And when she had said this, she put the infant into her father's hands. So he took him and hugged him close to his breast, and on his daughter's account, in a pleasant way, put his diadem upon his head.
So the king put the diadem on his head. That's crazy. Read on. This is doper. Read on.
But Moses threw it to the ground.
He threw it. Listen, I can't say this really happened because it's not in the scriptures. So I like going to the scriptures just to give the characteristics of the individual. I want to make sure we stay to the scriptures as much as possible. But he's saying that Moses threw the diadem to the ground that the Pharaoh gave to him. I can't listen. It's not in the scriptures, so I'm not going to sit back here and push it. So let's just read the story and take it for what it is. Okay, read on.
It said, did he say in a churlish manner?
No, he didn't say churlish. He said in a pleasant way. Well, the king in a pleasant way put his diadem upon his head, but Moses threw it down to the ground, and in a puerile mood.
Yeah, I think
No.
When you look at the definition of that word,
I'm gonna look it up right now.
It means to twist it and to cast it from you, like to wring it.
Yeah, childish and silly and true.
Yeah, like to twist it and spin it around and throw it like it don't mean nothing. Basically, it don't mean nothing to me.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
this crown that you putting on your head, it means nothing to me.
Yeah,
that's the attitude that he had when he put that crown on his head.
Yep, he wreathed it around. Read on.
In a puerile mood, he wreathed it around and trod it upon it with his feet, which seemed to bring along with it an evil presage concerning the kingdom of Egypt.
Yeah, well, listen, we're going into you got to understand that Josephus is taking accounts from different nations as well. He's an historian that's taking the historical account of the Egyptian angle and the Hebrew angle.
From Manetho, from
Eusebius. All these different writers of their time. And so he's giving the insight on the Hebrew story from different kingdoms' perspectives as well. So you take some of this information with a grain of salt, but it just kind of fills in some of the informational blanks. Because it just jumps from, he was a baby, now he's murking Egyptians. You know what I mean? In the Bible. And there's got to be something else happening between that time. So now we think he's spinning headpieces and diadems and throwing them on the ground like it ain't nothing. Trampling on them too.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep going. Yeah, trod upon it. Read on.
But when the sacred scribe saw this, he was the same person who foretold that his nativity would bring the dominion of the kingdoms.
He's like, this is the dude. This is the curse. He's the cursed one, all right? We got to take this guy out. I've been telling you.
Get out of here.
Like a movie out. This is like some Superman stuff out. Cal Elmas died. No, this time. Keep going out.
He made a violent attempt to kill him.
Oh my God.
And crying out in a frightful manner, he said, This, O king, this child is he of whom the Most High foretold, that if we kill him, we shall be in no danger. He himself affords an attestation to the prediction of the same thing by his trampling upon thy government and treading upon thy diadem.
They died him. He's like, what he's doing now is what he's going to do physically when he gets older. He's stomping on your crown now. He's going to stomp on your crown when he gets older. Kill him dead. Kill him dead, I said. That wasn't meant to be lyrics. That wasn't. But keep going.
Yep.
Take him, therefore, out of the way and deliver the Egyptians from the fear they are in about him, and deprive the Hebrews of the hope they have being encouraged by him. But Prometheus prevented him.
The mother, read on.
And snatched the child away. And the king was not hasty to slay him. The Most High himself, whose providence protected Moses, inclining the king to spare him. He was therefore educated with great care. So the Hebrews depended on him and were of good hopes that great things would be done by him. But the Egyptians were suspicious of what would follow his such education. Yet because if Moses had been slain, there was no one, either akin or adopted, that had any oracle on his side. For pretending to the crown of Egypt and likely to be of a greater advantage to them, they abstained from killing him.
Okay. So he was educated by the Egyptians. He was intelligent above everybody else. He was handsome. He had the whole package, man. The Most High was with him. He was raised in the king's authority, but he also didn't love the limelight and the power of the king's authority either. He had the perfect balance. The Most High set it up so, because that was the type of man needed to lead Israel out of this condition. Okay? Now let's go back to Exodus.
Exodus 2 and 11.
Yeah.
Exodus 2 and 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens.
Now, just so I'm not going to go into it now because we're already losing time. But when you're sitting back here and reading chapter 10, it talks about how he was one of the captains in their armies, and he helped overthrow the Ethiopians in war. So this guy was actually a captain in their military as well. He had rise and ascended to higher levels in the Egyptian empire and authority figure. Okay, so he was a military person as well. So when he sits back here and he puts together Israel as, and the funny thing is important. I think it was important that Moses had this kind of development and training because he was able to put Israel back together and establish their armies and every facet of their government when they left Egypt in the first place. Egypt had Moses had all of their training. They were training and putting together a nation, a kingdom, the structure necessary to put this thing together. So, and then even the training in his military acumen helped get Israel prepared for wars and battles down the line. So they needed a leader who had that kind of balance to prepare the whole nation, in their next endeavor. So, keep going, sir. Verse 12.
At the end of 11.
Okay, the end of 11.
And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian.
He slew the Egyptian because once again, he was still about his people. Okay, read on.
And hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us?
It almost sounds like they knew he was the chosen one, because they was hating on him. They was hating on, so who made you the judge, man? Just because you sit back here in the pretty house, don't mean you can sit back here and check us. Because that was the spirit he was in. You checking me, but you ain't even in these streets. You know how Jake gets out. Jake gets judgmental as hell out. Now, just yesterday, he sat back here and looked after their brother. Now he's trying to help the brothers again. You can't tell me nothing. Jealousy and pride mixed in. That's what it was. Read on.
Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killest the Egyptian?
Then he knew the gig was up and they was going to snitch on him. And that's why he had to leave. Read on.
And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known.
Everybody knows now. Even though I was looking at this was the beginning of Moses starting to realize that Israel, man, they had a lot of jealousy of him. They had a lot of jealousy and envy of his position, his looks, all the blessing the Most High gave him. They had a problem with him. And all he was trying to do was look after his people, and they was already judging. Read on.
Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well.
Mm-hmm.
Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters. And they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock.
Hold on a second. You know what? I'm not gonna read more of this. It's cool. We'll keep going. So read verse 15 again.
Exodus 2 and 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them, and watered their flock. And when they came to Ruel, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today?
So obviously, Midian was like, well, not Midian, but Ruel was like, how'd you guys get back so quick? Because normally, when you're trying to water flocks, other cats come and take the water from you. You got to start over again. So you're there all day. There's people going to come in and try to take the water that you're digging from the well. Okay, read on.
And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us.
This chapter, from chapter 2, verse 15 down to verse 19, is how we prove that the Hebrews were men of color. Okay, because these daughters, the 7 daughters, said this Egyptian sat back here and protected us and allowed us to water these flocks quicker, because the Egyptians looked like the Hebrews in skin color. And we knew that the Egyptians were dark-skinned people and men of color, then the Hebrews were men of color. It wasn't a unknown thing back in those days. We normally go to this chapter to prove color. It's one of the major ones to prove color.
Not like Charleston Heston played in the 10 Commandments, the movie 10 Commandments, where Moses had blonde hair and blue eyes.
Exactly.
Or that the most recent.
Or that damn that was a horrible one that came
Gods
out.
of Egypt?
Yeah,
that
Gods
was
of Egypt.
horrible.
Yeah.
It was one black guy in the entire land, and he was like the effeminate, like wise guy. Anyway, it was horrible. It was a bad movie. I was a waste of an hour and 45 minutes. You don't need to watch it. You're okay. You know what I mean?
That's Hollywood for you, though.
Yeah.
Hollywood is
Cleopatra.
always. Yeah, Hollywood. Yeah, Cleopatra. Liz Taylor.
You know they're about to do another Cleopatra, right? And Wonder Woman's going to be Cleopatra.
Oh.
That new Wonder Woman, she's going to be Cleopatra. she's like white Israeli.
Is it Gal Gadot?
Yeah. Gal Gadot, whatever her name is. What is she? She's going to be Cleopatra now.
Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv. Yeah.
Tel Aviv.
Can't see your hands.
That's a mock joke. But yeah.
I'm just saying that's Hollywood, man. Hollywood is always going to try to paint its actors, white that pertain to, because this is their notion. First of all, behind Hollywood, you do have people in high positions. Who runs Hollywood? You have high-powered Jewish people who run Hollywood, and they want to paint the imagery of us being in a subservient position. Hollywood has always given us the low-budget films. You know what I'm saying? Those blaxploitation films. They don't want to put us in blockbuster films where we're the leading role or the leading woman. That doesn't look good for them. And for two, it's an agenda behind it as well to make sure that they always paint themselves as the premier, most important people, because they look at it'll sell better if white people are the heroes. You know what I'm saying? But there's an agenda also to retain white supremacy as being the dominant, most important historical figures known to man. I say it all the time. In about 20, 30 years, Michael Jordan going to be blonde hair and blue eye. They're going to try their best to try to get anybody that they can that was ever.
Is he going to be blonde eye, or is he at least be black hair?
Brown hair. Brown hair. They're going to try to paint anybody they can who has been a person of notoriety in this kingdom and try to change and whitewash his color. They've been doing that. This is why they whitewashed temple pictures and icons all the way from Eastern Russia. Yes, sis?
Well, they already tried to get a white lady to play Harriet Tubman.
A white lady to play Harriet Tubman. Julia Roberts.
They were trying to get her
to play Harriet Tubman. That's a slap in the face.
And when asked about it, they said something to the nature of, it's not going to matter or something. It was very nonchalant response.
It doesn't matter that Harriet Tubman is
her color didn't matter.
Her color didn't matter.
She was a hero.
Yeah.
It's a story.
But that's something that they've done psychologically. That's psychological warfare. When you give black kids white Barbie dolls.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying? The cartoons, the characters are always blonde hair, blue eye. That's psychological warfare. That keeps us in an inferior position as a people, not accepting the fact that the Most High actually made us greater and stronger. Yes, sir.
They in textbooks in school they put like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, only using with black and white pictures. They don't use color with those pictures. Every other picture got color except for those prominent figures. Always black and white.
Yeah, because they don't want it to matter as much. You know what I'm saying? They don't because it's imagery that they understand that they're teaching, they're training the younger generation to prepare yourself that you're already inferior. It's a motive behind these things. It's not just the best actor won that part. The people writing the script are in control of what they want to put out there in the media and control the airwaves. It's satanic. It's a satanic plot against us to keep us less than who we are as a people, as dominant as we are as a people. That we can't play those roles of the people that we actually were. You know what I'm saying? We are the Hebrews, but they'd rather give that part to somebody else because it fits their agenda. But back to the scripture though.
You know, I gotta go here, man. Let's do let's see, chapter 11 now, paragraph 1.
Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 11. Book 2, chapter 11, paragraph 1. Now the Egyptians, after they had been preserved by Moses.
So once again, Moses' military might. When you get a chance, read chapter 10. It goes into all of his military exploits against the Ethiopians and the fact that he took a wife by the Ethiopians, if I'm not mistaken. But read on.
Entertained a hatred to him, and were very eager in compassing the designs against him, as suspecting that he would take occasions from his good success to raise a sedition and bring innovations into Egypt.
So what he's saying is they obviously thought he was too good, or he was too big for his britches, so to speak. He was getting success in the military. He was intelligent. He was their captain. He had people following him. Now he'll sit back here and set up seditions to take over Egypt because those scribes were still talking to these people about he's the threat. Watch out for this guy. Read on.
And told the king he ought to be slain. The king had also some intentions of himself to the same purpose, and this as well out of envy at his glorious expedition at the head of his army, as out of fear of being brought low by him, and being instigated by the sacred scribes.
He was getting instigated. The king was being instigated by those scribes to get rid of him. Read on.
He was ready to undertake to kill Moses.
The thing is, they thought Moses was going to take him from within, like have a coup from within the kingdom. He didn't realize that Moses was going to sit back and have Moses bring the entire nation of Israel against him. And that was going to be the downfall. They couldn't see the angle of how this guy was going to take him down. Read on.
But when he had learned beforehand what plots there were against him, he went away privately and became the public roads were watched. And because the public roads were watched, he took his flight through the deserts, and where his enemies could not suspect he would travel. And though he was destitute of food, he went on and despised what difficulty courageously. And when he came to the city of Midian, which lay upon the Red Sea, he was so denominated from one of Abraham's sons by Keturah. He sat upon a certain well and rested himself thereafter his laborious journey. Laborious journey. And the affliction he had been in.
Now we go into what happened when he met up with these daughters at Midian at the troughs. And they brought him to their father well. Okay? And they realized that the lady said that the Egyptian delivered him, but it was really Moses. Now let's keep going in verse 20 in Exodus. My word. It's time to roll out. But keep going.
Exodus chapter 2 and verse 20. And he said unto his daughters, and where is it? Where is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. And she bare him a son. And he called his name Gershom. For he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died. And the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. And they cried. And their cry came up unto the Most High by reason of the bondage. And the Most High heard their groaning. And the Most High remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And the Most High looked upon the children of Israel, and the Most High had respect unto them. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of the Most High, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Most High appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Most High saw that he turned aside to see, the Most High called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh hither. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.
Okay, that's 5. I buy it. Next man.
I bought it in the council.
Okay.
I buy it. I need you,
I
bro.
also want to make the point too that this is Moses' highly spiritual event that happened in his life.
That communication the Most High had with him, right?
The Most High has some divine communication with him, and we also in our life we have to also hold on to remember the times when the Most High had a major spiritual event in our life. Because I mean we've all seen, not everybody, but a lot of us seen chariots. A lot of us have had car accidents that Most High brought us through some kind of way. The car accident happened and we survived. You know, I've had a lot of, in my life I had like a lot of events where I could have died and Most High looked out for me. And you got to remember those events to remember that the Most High is with you. Just like Moses had the burning bush, we all have our own particular circumstances that you got to remember and got to hold on to. Don't just get caught up into the rigmarole of life. But remember that the Most High is with you in your daily walk.
Battery's real close. Oh, okay. Okay, ready?
All right.
Scoot over that way. So she won't get in.
Abakaratazah, Shal Shabbatah, Banya Hawada, Banya Sha'ala.
Abakaratazah, Shal Shabbatah, Banya Hawada, Banya Sha'ala. Imagine. Right? Yahweh Hashem Yashabakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yashabakatah.
Okay. We're at Exodus chapter 3, verse 6.
Exodus chapter 3, verse 6.
This is the Most High communicating with Moses, letting him know who he is for the first time. And the Most High has been working in this young man's life this entire time. But now the Most High is ready to sit back and take him and push him forward. Okay? Read on.
It says, Moreover, he said, I am the power of thy father, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon the Most High. And the Most High said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them out of the land of the Egyptians.
Out of the hand of the Egyptians.
Out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large, and unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of thy children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said unto the Most High, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, Certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve the Most High upon this mountain. And Moses said unto the Most High, Behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the Most High, your power of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say unto me, What is his name? What shall I say unto them? And the Most High said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am, have sent me unto you. And the Most High said moreover unto Moses, Thus thou say unto the children of Israel, the Most High, your power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob, hath sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together and say unto them, the Most High, your power of your fathers, the power of Abraham and of Isaac and of Jacob appeared unto me, saying, I have surely visited you and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken unto thy voice. And thou shalt come, and the elders of Israel unto the king of Egypt, and ye shall say unto them, the most high power of the Hebrews hath met with us. And now let us go and beseech thee 3 days' journey in the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Most High our power. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst of thereof. And after that he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when ye go, ye shall not go empty, but every woman shall borrow of their neighbor and of her that sojourneth in her house jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians.
It really ain't no borrowing. It's spoiling. Okay, read on. Pretty much the Most High is saying, now it's time to bring you to Canaan. All the suffering I've heard, now it's time to switch you out. Because don't forget, that last king died. So this new king is that young king that's sitting back here putting the extra pressure on him. So he says, you're going to go to the king. He's going to say no. But I'm going to entice him to do it. And you guys are going to come out, and you're going to come out richer than when you left. Read on.
Chapter 4. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, the Most High hath not appeared unto thee. And the Most High said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, a rod.
So Moses didn't think they was going to listen to him. Moses didn't think that the Jews were going to listen to him. Because don't forget, Moses was raised by who? The Egyptians the whole time. And they were already looking at him suspect when he killed that Egyptians for the Hebrews. They still looked at him sideways. Moses said, they're not going to listen to me, man. What am I going to do? So Moses said, what's in your hand? He said, a rod. Read verse 3.
Verse 3. He said, cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from it before it. And the Most High said unto Moses, put forth thine hand and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand.
So, the Most High is showing that, hey, I'm with you. He's showing these miracles to remind Moses, I'm with you. You got to have some confidence in me. Okay, read on.
Verse 5. That they may believe that the Most High, thy power of thy fathers, and the power of Abraham, and the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob hath appeared unto thee. And the Most High said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom.
And this is another verse that we use to kind of explain that the Hebrews are men and women of color. The Most High said, Moses, put your hand in your chest, in your shirt. Read on.
And he put his hand into his bosom.
Under his shirt. Read on.
And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
So when he took it out, his hand was leprous without pigmentation. The bottom of our feet and the bottom of our hands have no pigmentation. But Moses' whole hand had no pigmentation. And when a person has no pigmentation, the blood shows forth through their skin. Okay? Read on.
And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again.
Put your hand back into your chest. Read on.
And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
So his other flesh was obviously brown. Some sort of brown, because when it was switched out, it had no pigmentation. So this verse proves that Moses was a man of color. Okay? Read on. Come on.
Verse 8.
Read on.
And it shall come to pass, if thou will not believe,
If they will not believe.
if they will not believe thee, neither hearken unto the voice of the first sign.
Is he past his verse?
He's at verse. He should stop at verse
9, right?
9.
Okay. That's what
That they will believe the voice of the latter sign.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass, if they will not hearken also to these signs, neither hearken
These two signs.
These two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river and pour it unto the dry land. And the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon thy upon the dry land.
So these are the three miracles the Most High said that these are the scenarios here to prove to these people that you're for real and that I sent you. Read on.
You stop it right there.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. Next man. I'm not gonna be going through a lot of Josephus, so y'all go with you. No, you're good. We already slid in a minute. Matter of fact, I want you. You've been reading.
Adar?
Yeah.
Idar, Shoshapata, Banya Hauda, Banya Shala.
Idar, Shoshapata, Banya Hauda, Banya Shala. I imagine. Bro. Yahweh Hashem Yashabakata.
Yabashim Yashabakam.
Okay, Exodus 4. I don't know what's going on in there, man.
Ready to go, huh?
He's ready. He's like, he want to read. He want to get in there. Exodus chapter 4 and 10, where we going to?
He's going to go to Exodus chapter 5, verse 5.
Okay, let's do it.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 10. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech, and of a slow tongue.
Moses wasn't slow in mind. He just wasn't a great orator. He wasn't a great communicator. And that's not everybody's strength. But once again, what he's showing is Moses was doubting his ass off. From verse 1 down, he didn't think he was ready. He didn't think he was on the level to be the mouthpiece of the Most High or to be that leader of Israel. Even though he had all these talents and abilities, he showed him he was still humble and meek and silent. He just said, I'm not the talker. I'm not the talker that I need to be to convince these nations of bullshit talkers out. Israel's a nation of talkers out. If you can't out-talk these talkers out, they ain't going to respect you out.
So he's not a conversationalist.
Well, he exactly. Listen, like you got to understand, Israel's foot is the kings and queens of talking S-H-I-T out. Israel will talk S-H-I-T all damn day long, and you got to talk back and forth with these fast talkers.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially when you're trying to convince them to do something when
bro.
it comes out of their comfort. To shake Israel out their comfort, they can come up with elaborate excuses to come out of their comfort.
You got to be able to compete with these talkers out. Israel will talk out of anything talking about a job, out of work, out of responsibility. They gonna talk. They gonna figure some escape plans out.
Ain't nobody hiring.
This job situation is crazy. Shoot, man, it's crazy, man. So we like, I can't compete on this level. Yes, sis?
Was it that, how did you say that? Was it that he was, did he have like a stuttering problem, or was he just not a great communicator, but he was a great thinker?
I don't want to say that he had a stuttering problem. It's possible that he had a stuttering problem. It doesn't say that, so I don't want to just fill in a blank like that. He just said he could have been slow of speech, could have been a stuttering problem. He just wasn't smooth with his words.
He was a military tactician, though.
Well, he was a lot of things. He was still smarter,
Yeah.
and his reasoning was greater than all the students he had around him. He was sharp. He was smart.
So he wasn't slow to speak.
No, he wasn't like slow, like cat.
Yeah.
But he used wisdom when he was careful.
He was, and that's why we read earlier in the Josephus about his intelligence, his wisdom, his understanding. He thought, the way his mind wrote, it was above most people. He just couldn't get the words out. Now, whether it was from stuttering or just a disconnect in his communication, it wouldn't be wrong to say that he had a stuttering problem. It just didn't say he had a stuttering problem. So I don't want to sit back here and just add things to the scriptures. I want to keep it as to the point as possible. He said he wasn't eloquent in his words.
Yeah.
That can mean a lot of things. You know what I mean? He could have had a lift. I don't know what the heck is going on. You just don't know. It's hard to convince people like, follow Jesus. I mean, it's hard. I don't know what's going on. So I'm not trying to sit back here and paint this picture out. We know he was a great leader. He was tall, handsome. He had everything, but I guess he didn't have a mouthpiece, man. Okay? You can't have everything, I guess. He said what?
I said, this is very special.
Yeah, he could have been talking like that too. Who knows, huh?
Like Mike Tyson had.
That's what I'm saying. Who knows? Y'all laugh, y'all bad. Y'all got the devil in you. Sitting back here laughing at Moses. God gonna curse you for laughing at Moses. Let me stop. Anyway, what's that?
I was messing with he laughing under his hand. I said, I see you too.
That's what I'm saying. You supposed to be a lover of Jesus, man. You laughing at our forefathers? Anyway. But you see, listen, we're laughing. Can just imagine how these people was going to look at him, when he's talking to him, anything that's coming off, they're going to sit back here and shred you. That's Israel, If you ain't got something, you missing something, they clowning, bro. And they ain't listen to the message. They focus on what you lacking at. I'm telling you, that's what they do. They listen. You could be saying some bomb ass points. It don't even matter, man. You see, he messing up the Hebrew language. He can't even talk right. This nigga talking all choppy. Walk the knife. Get out of here. Who's this dude? This dude, most I didn't send this nigga. Get him out of here.
That's how people though.
I'm telling you, that's how Israel is. Judgmental as hell.
Look at them shoes he got on.
Listen. Shoes, his haircut.
Don't look
his haircut.
Yeah, our people clown.
His beard suspect. Everything comes around. I don't believe this dude. His beard ain't come through. I don't know about this guy.
Man, we known for cutting, man.
I'm telling you,
we known for cutting, mocking, everything, man.
Clowning. That's what I'm saying. So he says, I'm not eloquent and I'm slow of speech and slow of tongue. Read verse 11.
And the Lord said unto him, who hath made man's mouth, or who maketh the dumb, or deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I the Lord?
And Moses like, you don't know these niggas that you made. I know you. I respect what you're saying. But these people you done made, they don't respect it. They don't look at things this way. I'm telling you, Israel wants the package. They do. Read on.
Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses.
He's like, damn it, Moses. Listen, man, can you just lock in? That's what he wants to. Can you just lock in, man? I got you.
Bush.
Yep.
Listen, I'm here with you. You think I'm gonna let these words like not go void? I'm making staffs turn to snakes. I'm changing your color. Doing all this. That's not enough for you to trust that I'm with you.
You know what it shows? It shows you that as strong as Moses was, eloquent as he was, he still had an insecurity.
Cut.
His insecurity was keeping him doubt, making him doubt.
Exactly. I'm sorry, brother. We're at Exodus chapter 4 and verse what's that? 12. We're at Exodus chapter 4 and 12. Okay, it's got this message. But it's 13 now?
14.
Okay, now it's at 14. Y'all was lying to me. 4 and 14. Okay? Exodus chapter 4 and 14. But yes, he was doubtful. He was doubting, right. and he wasn't sure of himself. And the Most High, what also shows you is our doubt pisses the Most High off. We're sitting back here and doubting the Most High's with us, doubting doing the right thing. It angers him. Like, dude, I'm here with you. Yep. How many magical signs I got to show you to let you know that I'm with you? I don't know. He was there for me last week, but I'm not sure this week. You know what I mean? Right. That's how we be doing every day to Zoe. I know you blessed me with 300 today. Yeah. But tomorrow is a different day. Right. You might not be with me today.
Way outside.
You was there with me all week last week, but it's colder outside. People were meaning to me today. It's cold. There's a football game that comes on at 7. Yeah. You're not going to be with me today. Jesus won't come through because of these scenarios.
The Cowboys.
We're the same way. We're the same damn way.
The Jews require a sign.
Every day. That's the problem. We want a sign every day. Yep. We want to know that Most High is what is guaranteed. I want to see birds want to see a chariot fly by. Yes. That's when you know the Father.
I know it's you.
Like, hey, you see that? That wasn't normal. That was a sign. I'm supposed to be here today. Israel rose like that. It's crazy. Instead of just reading the Bible and believing and trusting, we don't operate like that. 14. Exodus 4:14.
And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, "Is not Aaron the Levite thy brother?"
Okay, man, bring Aaron in, bro. Aaron can talk. Is that good enough, man? Can you sit back and follow my words and do what the hell I got you doing? Hijo Jesus. Okay, here's Aharon. He's here. He's a good mouthpiece. Read on.
I know that he can speak well, and also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee.
You know what it also shows you? Sometimes the Most High has us doing daunting tasks, God. To sit back here and do some of the moves that we're doing is scary, God. Most High has big plans for us, and a lot of times we're scared of the magnitude of the work that we can do. And we have to trust that if we just stick to the day-to-day routine every day, we can do great things if we don't allow ourselves to get overwhelmed. Okay?
Yeah. And we can't be afraid to get pushed out of our comfort zone.
Yes.
Because that's what's happening with Moses right
here. Yep. He was staying in his lane. He was hiding. He was ducking and dodging. Yeah. Now he got to go back to both parties that had beef with him. We read earlier when he was in the back that the Egyptians wanted him dead now. The Egyptians, they didn't want him dead just because he killed the Egyptian. They wanted him dead because they thought he was going to get the army on his side after they defeated the Ethiopians and make a coup to the temple, to their kingdom. So the Egyptians wanted him dead. The Jews didn't like him. They didn't trust him. He had to go in front of all these guys. He had to rally the Jews. Then he got to sit back here and go get the Jews out of the land of the Egyptians. This is a significant move. And he's afraid. So he said, okay, man, I'm going to bring your brother in here, man, and get this done too. He's a good speaker, right? Cool. Read on.
And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart, and thou shalt speak unto him.
So Aaron was obviously the what brother to Moses? Younger or older? Older. He was the older brother. There we go. Read on.
And put words in his mouth. And I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do.
You know what's crazy? He's still telling him what to do. He just made a little concession for Moses' fear. He still says, I'm going to tell you what to tell Aaron, so Aaron can tell the people. If we want to go do all this extra damn stuff, okay, we'll do it. It didn't even have to be this way. I'm still talking to you, giving you the exact script to give to Aaron.
But public speaking is real life. Public speaking is real life. Giving reports, telling people things.
These are book reports?
Hello? This is the book that I've read.
Oh my God.
That is terrifying.
Oh my
That can be
God.
terrifying.
Book reports? That's awesome. Or they got to give a predates about the president.
Yeah.
My president was the 30th president of the United States. His name was Harry Truman. Listen, the key is to look at the paperwork, man. You know, the good ones can sit back and say a statement and glance, give a look over, and then go back here, and then glance and look over.
And not forget what they
don't forget. And you connect. You got to give connection to the people and then read. And then give connection and then read. Those are the good ones. I couldn't do it. I was like, and he did this and this, and he did this and this, and he did this, and he's dead. The end. I'm getting off this stage. Listen, it took time to get comfortable in front of people, but before it was like, hell no. Let me read this script and bounce. So I get it out.
God, that's a major fear.
It's a major fear.
He's keeping it real, man. He's keeping it real, man. I guess I forget middle school. I forget
middle school is real.
Middle school impression act.
Yeah. People just look at you.
Yeah. You try to do a spelling bee.
Those are awkward years, man. You said what?
You know the spelling bee, man. Can't get the word right because everybody looking at you.
Oh, man. That's when you got to close your eyes and look down at. Just look down.
Yeah.
Woo! Okay, so let's keep it going, y'all. That's awesome. Let's read on middle school issues, Zach.
And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people.
What verse are you at?
Verse 16.
Okay.
And he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth. And thou shalt be to him instead of the power.
Mm-hmm.
And thou shalt take this rod in thy hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. And Moses went and returned to Jethro, his father-in-law.
And I'm going to say this also. The Most High gave Moses this rod to do the signs. We don't have that power to sit back here and turn water to blood and turn rods into snakes. We don't have that power. All we can do is our works. Mm-hmm. Our works are what has to be used to convince the masses that we're serious and that we're about our job and that the Most High is with us. And for this generation now, we have to make sure that we outwork, we outdedicate, we outsacrifice, so everybody can see. Listen, when everything's everything, the people who are putting the works and getting results are the ones that should be followed. That's all you can do, because we're still in the midst of convincing Israel to follow, convincing Israel to trust, convincing Israel that we are worthy to earn your respect. And in that regard, all you can do is dedicate, sacrifice, and put the works to earn that trust. Moses had a bomb-ass staff out that could turn the snakes and change water to blood. We don't have that out. We got grit, dedication, and sacrifice. Let's keep going. I just want to bring that out. Read on.
And return unto my brother.
It'd be so much easier to have a rod out like that out. Listen, y'all. Spirit's with us. Grab a snake pop. See? Anyway, keep going out. Keep going out.
Which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, Go in peace. And the Lord said unto Moses and Midian, Go, return unto Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life.
That's dope. Now listen, the Most High set the whole thing up. All Moses had to do was be in order, live the right way, and walk the path. Read on.
And Moses took his wife and his sons and set them upon an ass, and he returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God of
the Most High.
The
rod of the Most High. Say it again.
And Moses took the rod of the Most High in his hand.
The crazy thing is, it's hard to like visualize him doing this with the kids and babies at home, and children that need him, and sitting back here taking the risks he was taking, and all the ridicule and the fire and the hatred that all these people were attacking. His kids was watching all this all the time. Can you imagine what they were going through? Crazy. My dad said, your dad sucked. My dad said that. My dad told me that he could do a better job than your dad is doing with the nation. They're in the middle of Canaanite. Golly, bro. Anyway, let's keep going out.
The Lord said unto Moses, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in thy hand.
What verse you at?
Verse 21.
Okay.
But I will harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go.
So he's like, you're going to show Pharaoh what I'm asking you, but he's still not going to listen. He's still not going to adjust. He's going to be hardened and hardened and hardened and be more stubborn in his way. Read on.
Verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
If Israel is his firstborn out of many, right? The firstborn is always supposed to be what? Huh? The heir, but also is what? It's got to be a gift to the Father, the Heavenly Father, right? The firstborn goes to the Heavenly Father. In a man's seed, a man's generation, that firstborn is the Most High's regardless. And what is he showing you about the nation? Of all the people on earth, the firstborn Israel is his. And this is why we don't have the choice we want to do, live the life we want to live, do what we want to do. We're the Heavenly Fathers. We don't have that power and control. We were always created to be his firstborn to do his bidding. Read on.
Verse 23.
It's not just the blessings, it's the responsibility that comes behind it. Read on.
And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. And verse 24. And it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Verse 25. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband art thou to me.
Go back up to 23. Matter of fact, read verse 22.
Exodus chapter 4 verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say to thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. Verse 24. And it came to pass by the way in the inn that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband art thou to me.
Real quick. Let me see. I want to kind of read because this kind of into the why the Most High almost killed that Moses' son. I've read this before. I just have to find out where. Keep going, and I'll double back to it. Just keep breaking it down. We'll kind of hit this spot. Want to find it.
Verse 26. So he let him go, and then she said, "A bloody husband thou art, because of the circumcision."
Because it's showing you that he was requiring circumcision even back then. But I wanted to bring up something too. This is read verse 22 again, and somebody get Ecclesiastes chapter 37 verse 25.
Exodus chapter 4 verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
Here's one of the, I just wanted to bring this out too when we read it earlier. One of the beautiful things that the Most High is saying right here is that he's always going to take care of us. That's that should be peace of mind and comfort words to the children of Israel, regardless of how unstable society may seem, or unstable your life may seem, or unstable your situation may seem. The Most High said, "I'm always going to look at you like who? Your firstborn. You know what? You're still dear to me. I still love you. So regardless of what happens to the world, what happened, because we're in the last days for certain. We're in the last days. So regardless of what happens to the world, whether it falls apart, burns up, blows up, whether it melts down, regardless of what happens, economy crash, food shortages, whatever it is that's going on right now that we start to see more often, you know, one thing that we can always guarantee is this right here. Read this right here. Ecclesiastes
37:25. The days of the life of man may be numbered.
He says, men's life on earth, whether it's Chinese, Japanese, Russian, German, European, African, Australian. He said that everybody has a certain time on earth. And even though a man may not live forever, read on.
But the days of Israel.
He said, but the days of Israel, go ahead,
are innumerable.
Are what?
Innumerable.
So is the children of Israel ever leaving this earth? You know, regardless of the state of the world, where people other nations are trying to colonize and build habitations on Mars. You know what I'm saying? To continue their stock, to continue their posterity. They're trying to cohabitate a whole nother planet. But no matter, because they understand that their time is limited. But regardless of what happens, our time is innumerable. So there's no time limit to how the Most High is going to keep us as his firstborn, the apple of his eye. You know what I'm saying? He said our days are innumerable. So this should be extra confidence of knowing that when you're an Israelite, regardless of any enemy or opponent trying to come against you, nobody can stop you. You know what I'm saying? No matter how they try to kill us off, like they try to kill Moses, like they try to kill Christ, like Herod tried to kill Christ. They're always trying to annihilate our population in history and in the present. But there's nothing that nobody can do that can stop us from being multiplying and being the Most High's favorite. So I just want to bring that out because we need to hear this, because as tragedy starts to strike their nation, they're gonna take their falling apart or collapsing of a nation. They're gonna try to take that out on us. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try to take out their anger, their grievances. They already blame the economy for us. You know what I'm saying? Too many of y'all on food stamps. Too many of y'all on welfare. You're a burden to the economy. You're sucking up all the tax dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's you people. That's how they look at us. We're already being the reason why their economy is collapsing. Or we're always the cause of, you know, why crime is so high. Or why the drug rate is so high. Because all you do is gangbang and all you do is push drugs. That's the narrative that's always aimed against us, like it's all our fault. We got a cross on our back, an X on our back. It's always you guys' fault, black, Hispanics, Native Americans. It's always your fault for burdening the nation. Society would be so much better if you were eliminated.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? We could be so much further as a population if it wasn't for you people. You know what I'm saying? So we're already looked at as the bad guy in the scapegoat to why the economy is crashing and why their dollar is dropping, why education is dropping. You know, so crazy. We barely got a fair shot at education anyway.
Yeah.
So now we're to blame that education is collapsing. We just got to the point where we can go to schools and get some type of decent education. You know what I'm saying? But we're still to blame. But as their society collapses, they're gonna need somebody to blame, and that's gonna be us. But the Most High said, "Man, listen, y'all are my firstborn." He says, "Your days shall be what? Innumerable." So it's never going to end, and that's the beauty of Israel. That's why he said, what is that? Isaiah 40, when he said 45 and 17. Is that Isaiah 45 and 17? But when he said
Isaiah 45 and 17.
Yeah, is that 45 and 17? They said that.
But Israel shall be saved.
Yeah. Is that it? Yeah, read that.
Isaiah 45 and 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation.
Why shall we be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation? Because we're the Most High's firstborn. We're the Most High's favorite. Out of all the nations on the earth, we're his peculiar treasure. He loves us more than anybody on this planet. He says, so if anybody's going to be saved, it's us. Go ahead.
You shall not be ashamed.
And that's why there's no need to be ashamed, because there's going to come a time when representing Israel, you'll be looked at as the oddball. You'll be looked at as the enemy. There's a narrative in the media to quantify us as a black extremist group or Hispanic extremist group. We're always on some Southern poverty law watch list as a group to look out for. But yet none of our actions can be judged as deemed horrendous, like what we've been dealt with in this society while we've been in America. We don't go around lynching nobody. We don't have that bloody track record that the same people that are trying to isolate us and put us into these categories are trying to say we are. But they need something to say, you know what, there's no need for you to be here. There's always a reason to exterminate us. He said, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord. Go ahead.
You should not be ashamed.
And so there's no need to be ashamed. We should, in this day and age, we should become more proud of being Israelites. But showing people who we are. Because we're the Most High's favorite. If anybody gonna fall, it ain't gonna be us. Now we know the scripture say 2/3 of Israel shall die, but even they shall be brought back. Go ahead.
Nor confounded world without end.
It says, because whose world is never gonna end? Israel's world is never gonna end. These other nations, the world as they know it is coming to an end, but not our world. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to bring that out because that's important for the Most High to tell Moses this. He said, man, these children are forever going to be mine. But we should take a confidence in that. We should carry some pride about the fact that the Most High loves us more than anybody else. I just wanted to bring that out.
Okay. So read verse 23 again. I just want to make sure we clarify this point.
Exodus chapter 4, verse 23. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn.
This is the message that the Most High was prepping Moses to tell Pharaoh to help get Israel out. Read verse 24.
And it came to pass, by the way and the end, the Lord
met Moses, met him. The Most High met Moses. Read on.
And sought to kill him.
So the Most High sought to kill Moses. Read on.
Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely a bloody husband art thou to me.
Read on verse 26.
So he let him go.
Listen, the Most High let Moses go. Read on.
Then she said, a bloody husband thou art, behold, of the circumcision.
So what's happening is the Most High was going to sit back and deal with Moses because Moses didn't speedily do the circumcision of his son. And you got to understand, the Most High is all about order and doing things the right way and in a timely fashion. Moses was about to represent the Most High in approaching Pharaoh to let his people go. And Moses, what wasn't in order? His affairs weren't in order. His house wasn't in order. He hadn't did the circumcision rites that the Most High expected of him. So that angel wasn't going to let him go until that job was done. This is why the Most High was about to sting him. I think it was Gershom that had to get circumcised, his firstborn son. And he was taking too long to get it done. It just shows how serious the Most High is. The Most High sitting back here talking to you through a burning damn bush. You better keep your affairs in order. Everything around you's got to be tight. So Zipporah, before the Most High slayed Moses, sat back here and circumcised his son's foreskin because for whatever reason, they were taking too long. That's what I want to bring out. So, give me verse 27.
And the Lord said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went and met him in the mount of the Most High and kissed him.
Okay.
And Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord who had sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel.
That must have been a sight. The Israelites already had their elders and their leadership, and these two young whippersnappers come in and say, man, the Most High is with us, follow us. Imagine the kind of pride you're dealing with. This is the beginning of these elders having to sit back here and eat crow and realize the Most High jumped them to these younger guys. Read on.
And Aaron spake all the words which the Lord had spoken unto Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people.
So once again, they did as rehearsed. They did the sign with the staff and the sign with the hands, with the changing of the pigmentation to back to the color of your own skin, and then the water and the blood if they didn't listen to the first one. Just like the Most High told Moses in Exodus chapter 4 at the beginning. Read on.
And the people believed, and when they heard that the Lord had visited the children of Israel, and that he had looked upon their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshipped.
Now I want to bring out a point about Israel. I want you to go to Antiquities of the Jews, book 2, chapter 13, paragraph 2. Antiquities of the Jews, book 2, chapter 13, paragraph 2.
Since then, Moses found that the Hebrews would be obedient to whatsoever he should direct.
So listen, at this particular point, once they showed the signs, they were willing to listen to whatsoever Moses had to say. Read on.
As they promised to be, and were in love with liberty.
The reason that they were going to listen to Moses and whatever he said, because they was in love with liberty. The gain motivated them. And that's how you know that once the gain wasn't there and they was in the desert and wilderness suffering, what did they do to Moses? They turned on him. Then they hated him. But when the liberty is promised, Israel will follow. Israel will follow when it's beneficial to them. And then when it's not beneficial to them, they'll turn on you. They'll turn on you and curse you to your face. He's showing the nature of the people. But at this particular time, the elders and everybody was going to be gung-ho and listen because it was a benefit to it. We all as a nation can sit back here and leave these oppressors. But once we away from these oppressors, I'm getting this dude. I can take his spot. I'm better than him. All the pride and the negativity kicks in after we're out of danger. The enemy of my enemy is my what?
My friend.
All that Jake damn Art of War crap. We would be friends, and then when we overcome enemies, I would have taken you out. That's the whole point. That's the mindset of the people even back then. Was that exactly? Anyway, we know that now, but Moses didn't know it. He sits back here, found the Most High. The elders listen. They even bowed down. If they bowed down then, why didn't they stay in order in the damn wilderness? Why was Dathan and Korah on a turncoat and Zimri and all these cats on a set trip?
Because that rigor was bad, huh? All that work they had to do.
That wilderness, right?
Yeah.
Brother, it just shows that devotion and that love is fair weather. That's all I want to bring out in that. Let that go and go back in the Bible. Exodus chapter 5 and 1, right? We're going to verse what? 9 chapter 1? Was it 9?
Go to verse 5.
5, okay.
Exodus chapter 5, verse 1. And afterward Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Power of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness.
So that was the initial request. Not to leave totally, but to leave for a feast in the wilderness. Okay? Read on.
And Pharaoh said, Who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go.
He's like, hell no. I don't know the Most High. I don't know these guys. Listen, don't forget, they had their own scribes and their own soothsayers. They had their religious groups or people that were affiliated with their gods. I don't know your gods.
Kemetic science.
Yeah, they're them Kemetic boys.
Yeah.
Exactly. They had their Kemetic wisdom, their Kemetic boys. They already had their little knowledge. You know, they had the little punk and the wisdom and the thought guy and all these guys. Anyway, let's keep going.
And they said, The Most High of the Hebrews.
The power of the Hebrews.
The power of the Hebrews hath met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Lord our power, lest he fall upon us with pestilence, or with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
And the king of Egypt said unto them, Wherefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, let the people from their works get you unto your burdens?
So he says, Moses, listen, you got these cats riled up. Get these dudes back to work. I ain't doing nothing. Read on.
And Pharaoh said, Behold, the people of the land now are many, and ye make them rest from their burden.
He says, now you're sitting back here getting these guys ramped up. You're amping them up, giving them some false hope. Get these dudes focused on their work versus protesting and trying to set up some change. He's looking at them as a threat, and Moses and Aaron as the rebel rousers. Read on.
You know what it shows? It's always about the money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as keeping them in slavery,
yep.
why the nation needed them to be in slavery, because it was about what they generated.
Yeah.
You know, if you actually look at and these are old numbers, but if you look at modern day numbers of what the black and Hispanic buying power is in America, it's in the billions. You're talking about like at least $500 billion worth of buying power between blacks and Hispanics. You know what I'm saying? But and the work that we generate, if we were to stop working, I know there's a movie called A Day Without the Mexicans. I have never seen it. I need to see it though. Anybody seen it? You know what I'm saying? Long time ago. I need to check that out.
How old is it? 80s, 70s?
You know what I'm saying? But if they stop working,
shit,
the plants shut down, the highways shut down, plumbing stops.
2004.
It was 2004.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if we look at the real strength that we hold on to, all we gotta do is just stop going to work, and this whole place will shut down. All we gotta do is stop spending our money, stop buying, stop going to work, and everything will change in a heartbeat immediately, because it's still built off of our backs. It's still built off our labor. So it shows you the leading nation, our captors, just like in Egypt. All they care about is you can have your religion, you can have your beliefs, but you know what? You better take your butt to work.
Mm-hmm.
You better up and go to. That's all they care about. If as long as it don't affect the money, believe what you want to believe. But if it start to affect the money, we got a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But go ahead. The next brother, next reader.
Elisha. Oh, you might as well finish it up. Read verse 6.
Mm-hmm. Then he's going to chapter 6, verse 1.
So we're going to Exodus chapter 5 and verse 6. Read that.
Okay. Exodus 5 and verse 6. And Pharaoh commanded the same day the masters of the people and their officers, saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as heretofore, let them go and gather straw for themselves, and to tell the bricks which they did make heretofore, ye shall lay upon them, ye shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle. Therefore they cry, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our power.
So what he's saying, listen, what Pharaoh understood is, if I got people that are pushing for freedom, that are pushing for liberty, then they got too much time. So we got to stop giving these cats straw. So if I take away their straw, they got to give more of their mind and attention to what? To their work.
Yep.
Pharaoh understood, I got to sit back here and keep them more focused on surviving than sitting back here seeking some type of spiritual damn zen. Because that's how he looked at it. Keep them busier. It is about the bottom line. It is about the numbers. But the way you keep your numbers is keeping the people's mind occupied on work. This is why the whole system of this government is set up to where you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and there's barely enough money to survive and function. This system is working just set up to where you can pay just enough bills to keep the lights on, keep the water on, keep food in your stomach. There's barely enough money for excess.
And also too, with lifestyle, when people's lifestyles go up, there's like counter lifestyles, like finances that I might have to list.
I know that.
So you might make more money, but you got to maintain a lifestyle that matches that money to be socially acceptable.
And you're still stuck in that rat race. Everybody is focused on how I can maintain my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the taking away the straw just makes you focus more on how to sit back here and keep my daily workup, so I keep my daily rations so I don't fall. And that mindset takes away the spirit of trying to rebel and get out of a place. I got to focus on eating. If I can't eat and survive, I can't focus on some uprising. The uprising is the last thing on a person's mind when I got to sit back and put food in my kids' bellies.
I can't protest. I got to go to work.
Exactly. That was the whole point. And that was how Pharaoh kept the money going. I'm going to take away this straw, so you got to focus. Obviously, taking the straw away, now you have to gather the straw. Now you have to do more work to gather the straw just to do the work. It kept you busier. If I'm busier on work, I'm less busy complaining about the government. And this is how Esau understood. This is how you maintain people. Keep them busy. Keep their minds busy, occupied on work, and they're not going to be focusing on the government.
And you know what? And if sports and entertainment is not enough to give them,
yep.
Then all of a sudden this war just pops out of nowhere. Yep. And now we're at war with another enemy.
Yep.
That was homemade.
Yep.
That was fabricated.
But it's called something for freedom.
Yeah.
There's got to be freedom on the back end.
Yeah.
Survival, freedom,
Operation Liberty,
liberty,
yeah.
Freedom. Another word for freedom or liberty. It's always that.
Right. Now you're so caught up on war, you're not paying attention to what's going on here.
God, no doubt. Okay, so let's keep going.
Exodus chapter 5 and verse 9. Let their more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regain vain words.
Regard.
Let them not regard vain words.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 10. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, Thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw.
Mm-hmm.
Go ye, get you straw, where ye can find it. Yet not aught of your work shall be diminished. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble instead of straw.
You out here hustling this for straw, man. Read on.
And the taskmasters hasted them, saying, Fulfill your works, your daily tasks, as when there was straw. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten and demanded, Wherefore have ye not fulfilled your task in making brick both yesterday and today, as heretofore?
So listen. Shit goes downhill. When the taskmasters are beating the officers of the children of Israel that are overseeing the work, if the officers are getting beat, then what's going to happen? The workers going to get beat.
Yep.
Then, and all of a sudden, getting beat, doing push-ups. When you're getting beat or you're doing push-ups, you're doing extra shit, guess what the mind goes on? Your mind starts focusing on work, man. The urgency kicks in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now that urgency kicks in, I don't got time to be thinking about rebellion. The Most High delivering me. It's all about getting the mind refocused back on whatever the Master has appointed for him.
I'm gonna beat the rebellion out of you.
Hell yeah.
Beat it out of you. So you have to contemplate, is it worth this taking this whooping?
Because the officers were the responsible ones. I'm gonna beat on these officers. So if the officers ain't talking rebellion, the workers ain't talking rebellion. It's simple as that.
And that's no different than what happened during our slavery here in America, when the slave master would have the biggest, strongest slave whoop the other slaves. You know what I'm saying? To instill fear in them. They would be the one cracking the whips. They would be the one implementing punishment, sending the rest of the slaves back to work.
Yeah.
While the masters sit back sipping lemonade.
Yeah. They're getting them fighting each other.
Yep.
Let's keep going.
Verse 15. Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried unto Pharaoh, saying, Wherefore dealest thou thus with thy servants? There is no straw given unto thy servants. And they say to us, Make brick, and behold, thy servants are beaten. But the fault is thine own people.
It's in thine own people.
It's in thine own people. But he said, Ye are idle. Ye are idle.
You're idle talking about this leaving the land and sit back here and have a goddamn feast in the damn desert. He's like, y'all dudes are the idle ones. I'm going to make it harder on you till you stop talking about going to the damn desert.
And it shows how the government always looks at the people as like they're shiftless. Israel's always shiftless. We're always like, we do 400 years of work in America.
Yeah.
And here, right?
Yeah.
And we're still lazy.
Mm-hmm.
We're still shiftless. But our people are burnt out.
Yep.
Our whole life has been labored.
And it's not about separating church from state.
God.
Whatever the hell you're doing on your religion ain't got nothing to do with the goddamn government. This is, you got to do your government work. You got to do your responsibilities and follow your God on your own time.
Come.
Read on.
Therefore ye say, let us go and do sacrifice to the Lord. Go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you. Yet shall ye deliver the tale of bricks. And the officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in evil case.
The trick bag. The evil case is the trick bag. They damn if they do, damn if they don't. Read on.
After it was said, ye shall not diminish aught from your bricks.
No, you shall not diminish.
It's diminished.
Mine says
diminish.
Well, mine says diminish. Okay. Okay, my fault.
You shall not diminish aught from your bricks of your daily tasks.
Why they do that, man?
And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said unto them, the Lord look upon you and judge, because ye have made our Savior to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, Lord, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sent me?
Revolution is never easy, man. You might have the greatest intentions in the world to change a culture, change a circumstance, change a situation. Doesn't mean it's going to be some easy transition. These people aren't going to give up their power and their rulership just easy like that. It's not going to happen. They're not going to give up without a fight. Read on.
For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people, neither hast thou delivered thy people at all. Chapter 6. Then the Lord said unto Moses,
last verse,
now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh. For with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of this land.
Now, when you sit back and read in Romans chapter 9, if I'm not mistaken, it talks about how the Most High purposely elevated Egypt to the entire world so he could break Egypt and get the worldwide respect that he deserved. And you read how the Most High sat back and elevated this one kingdom so we can destroy him, so the whole world will know about the God of Israel. And we all had to play our part so the Most High could be elevated and respected. Okay? The verse we're going to go to now is in Isaiah.
Chapter 27, verse 6.
Yeah.
And you're going to read, you're still reading, you're going to stop at verse 14.
Isaiah chapter 27, verse 6 through 28.
Isaiah.
Hold on one second, sir. I just gotta type this up. This manual boys over here, man. Okay. Isaiah 27, verse 6 through 28 and 13. Let me get it. I'm sorry. 27 and 6. Okay. Let's read that. There we go.
Isaiah 27 and verse 6. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root.
So this is initially talking about that promise that he made to Moses that he was going to take care of Israel and look after Israel regardless of the circumstance. This is a reminder that Jacob was going to take root. Jacob was going to sit back here and find and establish their foundation and their foothold in this world. Read on.
Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Hath he smitten him, as he smote those that smote him? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou wilt debate with it. He stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east wind. By this therefore shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin, when he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder. The groves and images shall not stand up, yet the defenced city shall be desolate, and the habitation forsaken, and left like a wilderness. There shall the calf feed, and there shall he lie down and consume the branches thereof. When the boughs therefore thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The women come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore, he that made them will not have mercy on them, and he that formed them will show them no favor. And it shall come to pass in that day, and the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and he shall be gathered.
Ye shall be gathered.
And ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel. And it shall come to pass in that day, that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mountain.
This is a future prophecy. It's not talking about the land of Egypt or the land of Assyria, because by the time we get to Isaiah, Assyria and Egypt were already out of power. By the time we got to Isaiah, Babylon was in power. And he's like, the Assyrians and Egypt is talking about all the people in the northern and southern kingdom, and all the outcasts are going to come back to the Most High and worship the Most High at Jerusalem. Read verse 28.
Chapter 20?
28 verse 1, I should say.
Actually, it's next brother.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, we already did all that. Okay. Matter of fact, Kaya, you can do it. Time.
15 minutes. Yeah.
Kaya Raka, Shah Shabbatah, Bana Shah, Banya Sha'ala.
Kaya Raka, Shah Shabbatah, Bana Shah,
Banya Shah.
I'm sorry, that was my fault.
Yeah.
Kaya Raka, Shah Shabbatah, Bana Shah, Banya Shah. Imagine. Right? Yahweh Bashem Shabbatah.
Yahweh Bashem Shabbatah.
You know what? I didn't read it. That was something on the Bible. I didn't pull that verse.
Well, they started. That's why they started out. That
verse 6.
Yeah.
Still, I was like, anyway.
Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 1. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine.
What he's saying is, woe to Israel when they're so caught up in their pleasures and their comfort and their ease. Okay? Read on.
Behold, the Most High hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand.
What he's saying is, if we're not always, it talks about, I'm trying to think of the scripture being, it says something will be overthrown if you're not diligent to the.
Oh, so the house will be overthrown.
Yeah, your house will be overthrown. Read
Unless
that. That's in Ecclesiastes.
Diligently hold himself in the fear of the Lord.
That's what it is. That's it is. Unless a man diligently hold himself, the house will be overthrown.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. It's Ecclesiastes 27 and 3. Should have known that. Ecclesiastes 27 and 3.
I got it. Ecclesiasticus chapter 27 verse 3. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown.
That means whether I can't be so consumed with my comforts and my lifestyle and my pace that I don't stay diligent on top of my affairs, my mind, my thinking, my spirit. If I'm not on top of my spirit, then I'm going to lose everything. When he's talking about the drunkards of Ephraim, he's talking about Israel being so caught up in their comforts and their life and their home and everything in their life that they're not conscious of still being diligent to the service of the Heavenly Father. Okay? Let that go and let's continue back in Isaiah unless brother's got something else to pull. Okay, let's keep going.
Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 3. The crown of pride.
You're going to verse 13, just so you know. Read on.
The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet.
Trodden. Read on.
And the glorious beauty which is on the head of the fat valley shall be faded, flowered, and as the hasty fruit before the summer, which when he that looketh upon it seeth, while it is yet in his hand, he eateth it up.
What he's saying is that what he's showing you is that Israel has a hard time maintaining their beauty. Israel has a hard time maintaining their honor and their strength and their consistency. He's talking about the beauty, and the beauty of the valley will fade. The beauty of the valley fades when a person's dedication fades, when a person's commitment fades, when a person's discipline fades.
That's what's beautiful to the Father.
Exactly.
And we look at beauty from a man-made perspective.
From the outward. But the inward, the discipline is what the Most High keeps seeing, is why the valleys fall and everything falls apart. When you lose your discipline, your willingness to sacrifice, your commitment, when that falls apart, then your beauty diminishes.
One verse on that, Proverbs chapter 10, verse 4 and 5. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 4 and 5. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich.
Exactly.
Verse 5. He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame.
Exactly. So that means I have to always be in the spirit of working, saving, working, saving. But also, I can never be comfortable, because the summer you got things. In the summer you have access. So what he's saying is I have to work double during the time of plenty, so when there's nothing, I have enough to sustain. Listen, that sounds illogical. Work double when it's available, so that you can sit back here, and when it's not available, you'll have. But what people don't want to accept, what that means is I have to constantly be working, constantly staying on top of things, constantly be inconvenienced. Because even during the slow time, I have to bust my tail just to survive a little bit in that time. I mean, I gotta struggle in the summer, I gotta struggle in the winter, I gotta struggle in the fall, struggle in the spring. Every day is a grind. And what happens, people want to take breaks. They want to get comfortable when there's a time of plenty. Why stress myself out? Why push myself to the max? Well, because if I want to stay on top of my spirit, if I want to sit back here and have enough for myself when things are slow, and I can't slack when things are plenteous.
You brought it up earlier in the class, talking about man building a tower and not having sufficient to finish. You know what I'm saying? I get burnt out, but that mentality that you're explaining right now is when the scripture says be forward a year ago. How do you get ahead? The only way to get ahead is to grind all year round.
It's to never be comfortable, never take a break. But that idea frustrates people. I can never take a break. There's never a relaxation. It's all work, all work. That's why people a lot of times run from what we do, because it's a grind every day, and we embrace it and we accept it. But the only way we can survive is to accept that lifestyle. Especially when you got to sit back and account for so many people around you. If I'm trying to make sure everybody can have something, we can't take a break. We can't chill. What you gonna say?
Luke chapter 12, verse 16. You got it, Quan? Read that.
Luke chapter 12 and verse 16 reads, And he spake a parable unto them, saying, The ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully.
Go ahead.
And he thought within himself, saying,
Anytime the Most High know that he blesses us with something, he said our mentality starts to slack. We start to want to take a break. He says he thought within himself, 12 and 16. He said the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. Go ahead.
And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do?
He said, what am I going to do
with all this good?
Yeah, I got my harvest. My harvest is up. My crops is up. Everything I've been planting, I've been working for, I'm finally starting to see the fruit of all my labor. I'm finally starting to see the benefits of all this hard work. So what am I going to do with it? Go ahead.
What shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits.
Go ahead.
And he said, This will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater.
Go ahead.
And there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stack up, and I'm going to make sure I stack up, not so that I can go back to work, but read on.
And I will say to my soul, Soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years.
I'm stacking up.
I'm talking to my soul. What? You've done good in your life. Now it's just time to relax.
Now it's time to eat. You know what I'm saying? That's what we want to do.
And enjoy. That's what we all want to tell ourselves. So, you worked hard for 20 years.
You deserve
relax
it.
Now, enjoy your family.
You need a break. You've been working all this time. You earned a break. That's what it is.
That's what you say to your soul.
I earned it.
Yeah.
Every time that says in a song, that's what's in your heart. I earned it. I did it. I made it.
I'm on top now.
Yeah, man. It's awesome.
Go ahead.
And I will say to my soul, Saul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years.
Go ahead.
Take thine ease.
And the minute we start getting up and getting comfortable, we want to do what?
Take thine ease.
And do what?
Eat.
And what else?
Drink.
And what else?
And be merry.
I want to enjoy everything that I work for. I want to make sure I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Eat, drink, and be merry. Man. Why I work so hard if I can't enjoy it? That's everybody's mentality.
Yep.
What am I working so hard for if I don't get to spend it, get to use it? I don't see the benefit of it.
If you
I
can't see
enjoy
it, want it, buy it, own it.
Right, exactly.
Hard work, no play.
That's hard work, no play, right? That's the mentality. But that's Israel. That's it, and that's why Christ had to come up with this parable to show you that's the wrong mentality, because that mentality is about a retirement.
Yeah.
It's about 401k.
So what you saying, you can't be retired in other cities, man, when the day is over, right?
Ain't no retirement in Israel.
No city retirement side?
You do this work until the Most High call you up. Ain't no such thing as
making sure. I'm just making sure. I've heard that retirement word talked about a lot.
It ain't no retirement in Israel. Right?
I've heard generals talk about retirement.
Go ahead.
You didn't hear it from me though.
Luke 12:20. But the Most High said unto him, Thou fool.
He said what?
Thou fool.
What do you call a man?
Raka.
I know, right? Yeah, Raka, right? Yeah. What do you call a man that wants to set up money just so he can take a break?
Thou fool.
And take his foot off the gas?
Thou fool.
And so he don't have to be diligent?
Thou fool.
So he don't have to work all the time?
Thou fool.
What does Christ call this mentality?
Thou fool.
That's a foolish mentality to think that you can stack up enough to where you can finally take a break and enjoy it. Why is that a fool? Go ahead.
This night thy soul shall be required of thee.
Because you know what? The Most High, the minute you think you're going to sit back and lay up and lamp in the lap of luxury, the Most High snatch you up just like that. The same night that you think you about to take a break. Go ahead.
Thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee.
Go ahead.
Then who shall those things be?
Now all the things you work for, now you'll see none of it. You'll enjoy none of it.
It's gonna be sold in the estate sale and be gone in like 2 years.
2 years, yeah. Somebody's gonna, the neighbors
gonna blow. They're gonna blow it out.
Yeah, the neighbors gonna come pick off your trees that you work for. Go ahead.
Which thou hast provided.
Go ahead.
So is he that layeth up treasures for himself.
And that's why you can never get in the mentality of I deserve. That I deserve a break mentality, that's American mentality. I need a vacation, that's an American mentality. I need to chill, I need time for myself, I need to take my foot off the gas, I need to enjoy the fruit. That's an American mentality.
Yep.
So I need to make sure I stack up so that I don't gotta go to work. I'm gonna work so hard for 20 years, I'm gonna pull two full-time jobs for 20 years straight so I can collect 2 retirements so I never got to work a day in my life. You got to go to work. I don't have to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
I got enough in the bank. So it can keep me from having to go to work. Now all I do is travel the world. I'm getting my passport stamped everywhere I go. That's an American mentality.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a biblical mentality. Read on.
So is he that layeth up treasure for himself and is not rich towards the Most High.
Being rich towards the Most High is having a never quit, never take a break, always diligent mentality.
Why? Because I'm always working on the fruits of the Spirit. The only way you can stay rich in the Most High is I'm constantly working on my patience, my long suffering, my discipline, my humility, my whether it's the sacrifice for myself last, my patience. I can't stay rich in the Most High if I stop working. If I stop putting myself in a position to apply these scriptures, then all of a sudden I'm not working, and now I'm not good to the Most High anymore.
Yep.
So if I want to stay rich in the Lord, I got to keep putting myself in the need and the service of the people around me. I can never quit. When I quit, it's time for me to go. People say retirement is the death of people anyway.
Yep.
When you sit back here and you stop pushing, you got stuff. When you don't have anything to live for, you diminish. You fall apart anyway.
And also in Japan, bro, one of the oldest populations in the world, they have this idea about the elderly are out there doing like the regular service jobs. So all the service jobs are done by the elderly. So they have a longer lifespan period.
They got a reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah, that whole retirement that makes people atrophy.
But for us, if we're going to, in the realm that we're living in, we have to be rich in serving the Most High. And that richness is based upon keeping ourselves at the service of the body. Because when you're not at the service of the body, you start to diminish. I don't give a damn how old you are. That's the key. The activity is in the service of the body. And what's the next goal that the body got? What's the next goal that the men got? Let me see if I can commit myself to the next challenge for the work. And to never give up on that mindset. After the next goal, what's next after that? What's next after that? What's next after that? That's how you stay rich and strong in this word. Anyway.
Ecclesiastes, Steve's in the Bible, chapter 5, verse 18 and 20.
Okay. You need to read it?
Yeah, it's not gonna
5:18. I'll read it. I'll read Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 18 through 20, right?
Yes, sir.
Behold, that which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and drink.
So the rich man had that in mind, right? Eating and drinking, that was a good eye. You're supposed to enjoy, eat some good food out, drink a little wine, enjoy yourself. I get that. Read.
And to enjoy the good of all his labor that he hath taken under the sun all the days of his life, which the Most High giveth him. For it is his portion.
So you should enjoy the fruit of your labor. It's a portion from the Most High. Read on.
Every man also to whom the Most High hath given riches and wealth, and have given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, and to rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of the Most High.
See, it wasn't about the accumulation of riches. It's about the rejoicing in your work.
Because rejoicing in the lessons that I've learned from my life.
I'm enjoying. I'm bonding with the men. I'm enjoying that. I'm seeing a flaw in myself that I have to overcome. Dang, you got some doubt. You got to work on this doubt. Your work will expose your doubt. Your work will expose your slothfulness. Your work will expose a bad relationship you have with a brother. We either don't get along. Well, the work will reveal that.
Yes, it will.
And so enjoying your work it's a spiritual process. It wasn't about the paycheck. We don't go to work for money now. We do it because we got to pay camp bills. We got to pay bills and we got to take care of finances. Esau requires what he requires. We give Caesar Caesar's. But the work is symbolic of men bonding together.
The struggle, the camaraderie that you gain from working together.
That never ends. The camaraderie never ends. And what you learn in your development never ends. That was the gift of the Most High.
Yep.
The work was an apparatus to build your friendships, your brotherhood, and your perspective. That was the work.
And this is why a lot of times people leave the work, and they leave this apparatus the Most High set us for us to work. They leave to pursue themselves, their own little desires, but then they still want that brotherhood and connection that comes from the labor.
It's impossible.
And you can't have to understand, you're not going to get that connection from the labor because the fruit of the labor is that connection and brotherhood. When you sat back here and chose living your life and do you, and be on the outside and look at us be brothers and enjoy the fruits of our labor. You can't have it both ways. People want to have the comfort and luxury of doing things on their pace and their time and their pursuits, and then be able to maintain the same lessons and the blessings that come from laboring together. You just can't have it both ways. It's not personal, it's not a slight, but you can't have it that way. If I'm going to sit back here and enjoy the labors, I have to accept also the loss that comes from enjoying the spiritual labors. I'm not going to have all the time I want. I might not have the extra cash that other people might have, because you know what? I'm focusing on the spiritual lessons that come from the labors that we come together and do amongst the body. Everything is a give and take. And in life, I have to accept that if I make it about the labor and the development of the labor, then I lose the flesh. If I choose the flesh, I don't get that bond of the labor of the brotherhood. It's one or the other. And if we can accept that, I can sit back here and look at this work with a different lens. And everybody can be at peace if that's the case.
And the Most High created that way on purpose.
The
Most High created, he said, choose this day life and death. We know that already. But the Most High wants to reveal character through what your choice and decisions reveal character. Read verse 20.
What verse? It was 18?
18.
Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure. Verse 20. For he shall not much remember the days of his life.
Because you know what? Believe it or not, the working and the grinding and the sacrifice, it takes your mind off of you.
Yeah.
Everybody got some stories that are incomplete. They're incomplete
Damn right.
puzzle, incomplete, formula or puzzle in their life. Yeah. That they can't, with their own hands, they can't fix it.
Because it's the consequence of the pursuing of the labors of the Heavenly Father. It's still about, there is a consequence to pursuing these labors. Mm-hmm. There's a consequence in pursuing worldly stability. It's not about wickedness and righteousness, evil and the devil and the Most High and the angels and Satan. It's not about that. It's whatever I put my hands to, I'm going to sit back and reap the benefit of what I invest my time into. Right. If I invest my time into the brothers, I'm going to reap brotherhood, relationships, spiritual development. I'm going to learn how to give on a high level. I'm going to learn how to be merciful. I'm going to learn how to be long-suffering. I'm going to have the memories and bond that comes from laboring in that arena. If I labor for myself, I will get the fruit of laboring for myself. That's what I said. This is not about wickedness and righteousness. No, it's not. This is about what am I here to labor for? Yeah. What am I trying to get out of this Israelite experience? What am I trying to get out of this life experience? People that want to find other avenues and angles and memories that bring about completeness in them are more than entitled to do it. But if I want to sit back here and be in an arena where I can get the most out of my spiritual labors, so I can be rich in the Heavenly Father, then the avenue is provided for all of us.
Can you read the B portion? And that's it.
Okay. It says, because the Most High answereth him in the joy of his heart.
The Most High answering a man or woman in the joy of their heart, that's called fulfillment.
Yes.
Yep. So the fulfillment is the labor for the camp, for the body. Now, there's other labors out there and
that bring other fulfillments.
And there's a fulfillment.
They seem like fulfillment.
There's a fulfillment, but if I find myself still wanting, and I'm still wanting, I'm still not full, then the Spirit's telling you where to go.
Exactly. What the message is, if you're not fulfilled, then there is avenues for fulfillment.
There's more.
There is more. Because people ask us a lot, what can I do? Well, there's arenas here available, but people have to want to choose them. Yeah. If they don't want to choose them, then you have to deal with that void. Yeah. However, you got to deal with that void. Yeah. You can't have it both ways. Either you fill the spiritual void, have it running over, and you're drowning out in the world, or whatever worldly things you might have, you might lose them, or you have everything and you have a spiritual void. That's just how the Most High keeps everybody neutralized. Nobody's going to have everything they want. Nope. Nobody can have everything they want.
Because you will have fleshly voids in the spiritual realm.
That's what I keep trying to say. You're going to be filled. Your spirit's going to be full. Listen, there's a whole oodles and oodles and oodles of spiritual lessons and blessings on blessings.
Virtues.
But on the other side, you're going to be losing some of the flesh to get this oodles and oodles and this barrels of the spirit. Yeah. That's the catch. I'm not here to play the game on any level. I'm not sitting back here saying you're going to get it all. You're going to get something, you're going to lose something. And on the other side, for whatever I'm pursuing in my life to make my life fulfilled, I'm losing in the spirit. That's how the Most High keeps spiritual checks and balances for all of us. None of us escape it.
Nope. I got one scripture in the Testament.
Let's be honest. Next week we'll turn it to 3, then 6,
Matthew 13,
then 12.
6. Couldn't believe that.
This guy's dancing in the New Testament.
No.
What is that?
I'm two-stepping.
What verse?
Matthew 13 and verse 6.
Yeah.
You said 6, right?
Yeah. The pearl of great price.
Loud, bro.
The pearl of great price.
Yeah.
What's that?
What's that?
The pearl of great. I just had it.
You said prodigal?
No, the pearl, like a pearl, oyster pearl, of great price. Because it sounds like that's that story.
It's like
13 and 46. 46.
Yeah. Matthew 13, verse 46.
You might as well 45, right?
Let's do it. 45.
45.
Matter of fact, 44.
Matthew 13 and verse 44.
Matter of fact, 44.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hidden in a field.
This is one of the aspects of what the kingdom of heaven is going to be like. Scripture says the kingdom is what? Within us, right? So in us getting to the kingdom, though it comes without observation, this is the likeness or the similitude of that dynamic of the kingdom. All right? Those group of people. Read.
The which, when a man hath found, he hideth, and for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he hath.
So when you have this opportunity to be connected to the Father and build something greater than yourself, then you're going to have to sell something that you have in your life in order to get this certain thing that's
something of value. Yeah. You're still giving up something of value to get something of greater value. you're not giving up the things you don't. Because once you get past the wickedness and righteousness and the self-improvement, I still have to give something of value up so I can gain something of greater value in the spiritual realm. Nobody escapes that either. Read on.
And buyeth that field.
And I invest. Now, this becomes my new passion. What I'm doing is trading one passion for another passion. Okay? Read on.
Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls.
So I'm looking for something I'm looking for the ultimate jewel. Everybody's looking for the ultimate fulfillment, the ultimate high, spiritually or physically, I don't know.
Or purpose-driven life.
Purpose-driven life.
Exactly.
That's why it sells so much.
Your
These guys can
wonderful,
make so much.
the wonderful purpose-driven life.
Yes, people want that.
Yeah.
Read.
Until they realize what they got to give up to get it.
Read.
Who, when he had found one pearl of great price,
he found the ultimate jewel. This is Most High communicated to you. You got the class. You found you were Israelite. You found out this is the truth. For the kids, as far as you might not have the experience where you found the truth. You kind of were born into it.
You had to do it.
And that's the funny part.
No escaping.
You had to fight to see.
Now I got to find joy. Exactly.
Yeah. Read on.
Went and sold all that he had.
Yeah,
and
give
bought
up all your flesh, or give up whatever's important to you or your routine.
It's still about what's important. You're giving up something of value because you believe this is of greater value.
Right. It's an exchange.
It's an exchange, but a lot of people don't understand that it's an exchange. You can't have it both ways. I have to give something up of value to gain something of another value for me to truly love it. Because most of us, you can't have two masters, right? So I can't have two things that I love. Because in actuality, I really only have one thing that I love. So the Most High said, I got to give up this one thing that I like so I can fall in love with this what I have in front of me. And I have to decide. But a lot of times, a lot of Israel, they don't look at the pursuit of serving the Most High in this type of lens. They look at the pursuit of the Most High as I'm adding this to me. I'm adding this to me. I'm adding this to how I live, and this can make me a more well-rounded person. Versus understanding that, hey, if I'm really looking at it, we don't look at this as searching and choosing for pearls, because if it's pearls, that's kind of dealing with priorities too. This is the greatest thing in my life right now.
That's true.
Versus people that take this knowledge and just make it a part of them, they're not taking it as a pearl. They're taking it as an addition. And if you want to sit back here and really tap into the power of serving the Most High, I have to value this far and above anything else in my life for you to really make that transition. But a lot of people don't do it because they feel they can still sustain their lifestyle while accommodating pleasing the Most High. And this is where people kind of miss the boat because of how they don't value it as much as they need to make this proper transition.
To see the benefit of it too, because you're never going to see the actual benefit of it until you're 100% engrossed in it.
Because once again, this is predicated on, I guess, individuals that have decided to make their life this. Everybody doesn't have to make their life this at this magnitude. But if you want to make your life at this magnitude, this is what it takes. If you want to teach, if you want to lead, if you want to represent leading others, this is what it takes to help get people and inspire people to give the most that they can give. Because that's what Christ was teaching. Christ was trying to teach people to give everything they got. You know what he was saying? He said, listen, man, remember the person asked him, I want to sit back here and be the greatest. What do I got to do? If you want to be the greatest, give up everything you got and follow me.
And give to the poor.
And give to the poor. But then you know what? They left. The guy left. He couldn't do it. Now, did the Christ say, you're a bad guy, you're wicked?
Nope.
He just said he didn't want to give it all up. He didn't want to be with the 12. He didn't want to sit back here and give it all up to be the greatest he could be. It doesn't make him wicked. He just didn't want to go that far.
That was Matthew 19:22.
Yeah. He just didn't want to be the greatest he could be. But Christ is always going to sit back here and push us to be the greatest we can be. And in the midst of pushing us, we'll go in whatever slot we want to go at. We'll position ourselves in whatever position we want to give ourselves. But if you're like that, way I said, if there's a void and you want more, you got to sit back and give more to fill that spiritual void. If not, you're going to always be in that circle of, I like doing this, but I'm still feel dead inside. I could do more. but I don't want to do it all, but I can do more. Always in that kind of middle stage.
Yeah.
You don't want to neutralize it. You got to give up what you value the most and make this the greatest thing in your life. If you don't do that, you won't reach your full potential. Listen, we're gonna get out of here because it's we have moves and jobs we got to do for the camp. So we're gonna send our prayers up and shut it down. Okay? I know y'all gotta head out. Imajim Wapanya Yerushalayim. I think that finish it up right anyway. You just gonna roll. We'll just send the prayers up. That's cool. It's all good.
Yeah.
No. You yeah. We'll do the prayers.
Yeah. Okay.
You got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, you got it.
I just want to make sure he's good before
okay.
we go.
Cool.
Bring the heavy hitters right there.
Yeah.
That was brought out on Wednesday right there.
Yeah, come with it.
Okay. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Please listen to us right now. Send Michael. And the righteous angels. To watch over. Bless. Heal. Protect. And make strong. The people of Yahshua. Also send unto us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, and much love, spiritual power, and forgive all of our sins. Yahweh Shai, come quickly, for in thee is our hope, always and forever. Amen. Brothers who got to go do their moves, head out. Rakhtay Haba Shem Yal Shai.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the law.
Okay. Rakhtay Yahweh. Bashem Yal Shai.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light to see.
Rakhtay Yahweh Bashem Yal Shai.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the ram's horn to call the people.
Rakhtay Yahweh Bashem Yal Shai. Sheman Zayat Lamashak Yashal.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
And to sing praise unto thy name. O Yahweh. To show forth thy loving kindness. In the morning. And thy faithfulness. Every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings. And upon the psaltery. Upon the harp. With the solemn sounds. For thou Yahweh hast made me glad. Through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Yahweh, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. And brutish man knoweth not, neither does the fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Yahweh, art most high, forevermore. To love thine enemies, O Yahweh, to love thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt, like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see.
Mine eye also shall see.
My desire on mine enemies.
My desire on mine enemies.
And my ears shall hear.
And my ears shall hear.
My desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
He shall grow.
He shall grow
like a cedar in Lebanon.
like a cedar in Lebanon.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord
shall flourish in the courts of our power.
shall flourish in the courts of our power.
They shall still bring forth fruit.
They shall still bring forth fruit
In old age.
in old age.
They shall be fat and flourish.
They shall be fat and flourish.
To show that the Lord is upright.
To show that the Lord is upright.
He is my rock.
He is my rock.
There is no unrighteousness in him.
There is no unrighteousness in him.
By Hashem Yahweh Shah.
Hashem Yahweh.
Psalms 133. In English. Psalms 133. Shayar, Hamaawa, Ladawad, Hana, Ma, Tawab, Wama, Na'ayam, Shabbat, Akim, Gam, Yachad, Hashaman, Hatawab, Ayo, Harash, Yarad, Ayo, Hasakwan, Zakwan, Aharan, Shayaran, Ayo, Paya, Hadawaf Yuwa. Kator, Haramwan, Shayaran, Ayo, Haroria, Tazayawan, Kayab, Sham, Tazawab, Hahaw, Habaraka, Kayayam, Hadabalam, Hashem Yahushua.
Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Rachno, Washrolim, Wabiyaf, support, turn. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Rachno, Washrolim, Wabiyaf, support, turn. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Rachno, Washrolim, Wabiyaf, support, turn. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Rachno, Washrolim, Wabiyaf, support. Rock they how, rock they how shot, rock they how, rock they how shot. All knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, all love, all patience, all power from your hoe, all power from your hoe, all power from your hoe. Ba'ashem, Yahushua, the water, the yard, the mud. Circle up. You gonna lead it? Watch your foot. I don't want you to hit the tripod.
Hallelujah and heavenly order. Yahweh, Yahushua, Wakora Shalom, in Israel, imagine. Bro.
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Barakam.
Kurasha.
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 Hallelujah, the daughters of Zion, in Israel, imagine. Bro.
Ba'ashem, Yahushua. Yes, what's that?
Or shalom. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Shalom, Israel. Y'all have a great day and have a happy Shabbat. We'll be in class on Monday.